Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Old World. We are live once more with the 2026 Old World Community Tournament. Very, very exciting time. Lots of action at the start of round one here. Plenty of games going on all day long. This, I believe, actually might even be the 5th game today that we're casting. And let me make sure that my comments are on. Let me make sure that I'm all set up. Are my comments on? Let me just check this out. Sorry for the delay. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, appreciate you being here. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, go around to all the other content creators. I'm going to try and get a better link set up for that, so that players may do so. Find everybody easily. We have lots of new volunteer casters streaming games, which is super, super exciting. Lots of volunteers. I'm going to make sure that we can let our Discord friends know that we are streaming live. Copy link. Here we go. I want to apologize up front. For any technical difficulties we may have. I'm having a little bit of a rough start to this season. Trying to get all my ducks in a row when it comes to mics and headphones and everything like that. It's been very, very frustrating. Also, for those of you who don't know, I know I probably say this all the time, but it's worth mentioning. I don't hear very well. So it makes it increasingly difficult for me to troubleshoot audio issues, because any little clicks and clacks and taps and things that you guys might be able to hear, I don't always often hear them. So it makes it a real chore to try and make sure that my audio is working appropriately so that you guys can have a lovely experience. And if I sound a little salty today, it's because I had a really rough time yesterday casting. And while I think I'm all set for today, I think I had a little bit of a trouble getting set up today as well. So if you are watching right now, live with me, if you would please give me an audio check, make sure that I sound okay. And of course, whether privately or in the chat, provide me any feedback if we are having any issues with excess tapping, clicking, chirping, vibrating, echoing, anything that doesn't sound like it belongs. Please let me know. And if I can't address it currently in this session, I will continue to try to work on it. So, with that said, and apologies to the lovely co-casters who have asked to cast with me. I had to decline both Alcaris and Spooky Wolf because then one of my issues is the headset that I'm using to try and communicate with my friends is putting me in an echo chamber. And I don't know why, and I can't resolve it. So I don't want to listen to myself sound like God for the next 5,000 hours. So unfortunately, I'm casting solo. But I appreciate the offer. We do have a first pick from Auro. Godlovesus had the ability to choose to pick first. He opted to give first pick to Auro. Now, Auro was a strong contender from the last tournament. Excited to see him come back now. Very excited to watch him play. We have some pastures. Really lush region. I really like this map. It's kind of like a mix between harsh and great terrain. Like, I feel like your core is very often like solid. You have lush tiles. It's kind of like the close mountainous area of a coastal rain basin style map, where like lots of lush tiles, some good forest. Not always. Sometimes it can be more open plain, like maybe up here, right? But we're looking at a lot of forests, lots of pasture, 3 farms, so lots of growth. We're right along a mountainside here with some quarry potential. So we picked a nation that does actually start with stone cutting. We picked Egypt here, and we went with an Egyptian builder. Oh, and of all the random traits that we could have got, robust is probably going to be your best pick for a builder. So that's really lucky right there for Auro. Starting with a robust builder. And I think that's a wise pick here because the mountain pass configuration for this tournament is a wide dual map. So Oro's probably confident that there's going to be a little bit of distance between him and his opponent, especially because a signature trait of the mountain pass is that you'll often have barriers like this. So for example, this mountain range extends right up here. And so that kind of creates a corridor to each other. In fact, this whole region is mountainous. So actually, I've often thought the Hittites make a great choice on this map because that mobility will come in clutch. But yeah, we kind of have 2 mountainous corridors, technically 3 because there's a third pass right here. And that's the only path that they have towards each other. So they're just going to kind of funnel in this kind of like S or N configuration across the map towards each other, which I think Auro made a correct play here grabbing a builder because he's probably feeling confident that he's going to have plenty of eco time to kind of build himself up and get very well developed. And we see a Sage Egyptian builder for that as an opener. This could very well be one of the a little bit of a longer game because there are no rivers on the Mountain Pass map. That's important. And there are also there's the occasional lakes. The map is usually dotted with lakes, but there's no reliable water transportation at all. This map does not spawn rivers. And to be clear, that's not a complaint about the map. I actually think it's an interesting quirk, an interesting strategic quirk about the map for players to navigate and deal with. But what it does mean is, since we have this distance, since we have these forests and these mountains and these hills, this could be one of the longer matches that we'll see in this first round tournament. It could be one of the longer scripts. Interestingly enough, we saw a wetland script today. No, not a wetland, a donut script today. Oh, am I glitching? Oh, well, we hate that if I'm glitching. I have to watch somebody move. I'm glitching. Oh no. Let's see if I can fix that with something. How do I want to do that? Instant unit movement. Let's try that. All right, let's go back to somebody who's going to move in a second and see if I can... I disabled that with some instant movement. Let's not get a double. Let's not get a bunch of repeats, because I'll be frustrated by this. Somebody move. We have Babylon, by the way, as the Godlovesus pick. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to have instant movement for the moment. It's still doing the weird glitchy thing, but at least I don't see them repeat a bunch. So apologies for that graphical issue, but and of course we're not going to get the lovely roaming of our units that we normally get in combat or whatever, but I don't want to have to restart this game or troubleshoot that issue either, because I just had some issues troubleshooting my own stuff. So we're just going to do instant movement and deal with a couple of the excess order graphical hangs. No big deal there, no big deal. All right, so wait a minute. Oh, we're going right into a slinger. Okay, so we started with a builder. Okay, so both opponents have a robust builder. That's fantastic. Very cool openers for both players. We started artisans with the Babylonians instead of sages, but artisans make a fantastic capital. I kind of really like that he opted for an immediate mine. This is going to seem like a strange move, but I actually do this quite a bit myself sometimes. I'll build like maybe a couple of mines with an artisan capital, get that like steady, just at like something small like a 12 or 15, base income from iron right off the bat, and then you can kind of not think about it for a while, because that level of income is sufficient enough to do pretty much anything you might want to do with it in the next 50 turns or so, when you're building barracks or building iron I almost called them Iron Men. You're building warriors. Or, you know, Iron Man, whatever. Going divination first for the Babylonians. And we cycled... Are you shitting me? Okay, no, we cycled... We went... What did we get? We saged into trapping. No, we got trapping first. What did we sage into? We start labor force. We saged into divination. That's a great lucky grab. We went trapping, and now we're going directly to navigation early. So that's actually, I mean, that's going to be about a turn... It says 19 now, but we're probably going to get some science in the meantime, so that's probably going to be more like a turn 15-ish, 16 or 15-ish navigation, so that's not a bad first law. No. Yeah, that'll probably be closer to... Yeah, 17 maybe. 16, 17. I don't know why I like to do that. I like to try and predict... when stuff is going to come out. So let's take a look at the map. We have a really nice location here. We went double sage opener. So this is a classic greed opener. I think Auro is playing the map. He's an experienced player. He probably took a couple looks at this map script in a preview games or in practice games, and he's probably feeling comfortable that he can get away with some double or even triple sage Egyptian greed. We also have clerics online, coming up online, marked over here. He got divination early, so he's going to have very easy access to Zoroastrianism. He's building the Joan Aqueduct right away, opening move for the Egyptians. Classic opener if the Jerwan is on the map. Let's take a look at the other wonders. We have the Great Stupa, which is another fantastic grab. Necropolis, Ishtar Gate, Mausoleum, Museum are both great grabs. Buddhist is also a solid grab if you're going to bring in clerics, and it also really helps ramp up your culture. And of course, for the big crowning jewels, we have the Heliopolis and a bunch of other stuff, which is fun, but nobody really cares about. We like the Heliopolis the most. Although I actually really like the Pantheon if the game's going to go long enough. 2 culture per city, per culture level, can get pretty gross on a nation like the Hittites or something. Thank you for the audio feedback, guys, by the way. And good to see you, Beck and Alcaris. And yes, so Wanderers, again, Apadana, Mahavihara, Mausoleum, Museum, Monumental Buddhist, and then the legendary ones are Pantheon, Hagia Sophia, Virectus Suk, and the Heliopolis. Plenty of time in this match, I think, to try and make a play for the Heliopolis. Starting off with the Jerwan is a classic Sage opener, I would say. We'll get that 2 extra science right off the bat. We'll collapse some of these borders. We'll get some great food income. And it looks like we built this. Oh, and then, of course, we're a builder, so we can just builder spam right on top of it. We are going... Again, we're going greed heavy down here. Let's take a look at what Babylon's choosing to do. Babylon settled his free site first, and he settled his free site sages. So let's take a look at his free technology. Looks like we got stone cutting for free. What were we researching? Divination, I guess? Yeah, okay, so we got stone cutting for free. So now on our turn, we have divination. So honestly, with artisans, we could still compete pretty easily for Zoroastrianism. It'll be interesting to see who gets that, because Egypt is planning on going for clerics. Ooh, and we're taking a drama pick next. That's a little interesting. The free settler should be nice off of that. And of course, I think if you're going to culture rush and raise somebody culture-wise, especially with artisans, you might as well pick up drama, because that's going to skyrocket your potential there. Very, very easy for an artisan cap to, especially with a builder, by the way, to get the Odeon, Amphitheater, and what's the other one? Oh, Odeon Theater and Amphitheater all in one city. And we need to be mindful of these tiles, because these are the only locations we'll be able to build the Heliopolis in. So let's see if we... Yeah, we're saving. We have some left, but we got to be careful. We might need to delete a quarry if we, spam this with quarries, which is, I mean, a fair trade for the Heliopolis. So drama, cool. Let's take a look down here. Yeah, it's going to be real slow going through these woods. Again, no rivers to speed this up. And one thing that's nice, though, is if Babylon decides to go after, to go to architecture after drama, he will actually have a location where he can put baths. And one thing that I like to do with colonies, since we actually happen to have navigation tabbed as the Egyptians, you know, because we always think about baths are probably like best placed in your capital or your main science city, right? You can always tile by up towards the nearest fresh water source. Trade a couple tiles, especially if we settle this city, right? If we have a plan to settle this, clerics would have to take the opinion hit. But if we're Babylon, what did we settle down here? Sages. But Sages actually would be a good location for these baths. So that's nice. Yeah, so we could do drama into architecture. Let's see if we have anything marked. We do not. Do drama into our architecture if we're planning on doing a builder wonder spam strategy. Yes, this is the first time we've seen Egypt and Babylon in this year's tournament, which I suppose is to be expected because, I mean, I believe this is only like the 6th or 7th match of the tournament. But we've seen a few Persia picks, couple Axum picks, and the Hittites were picked more than once. Everyone else, I think, has been picked once. But at this point, not everybody, not every nation, but all the other nations other than the 3 that I just mentioned that happen to have been picked so far have only been picked once, I believe. But the Hittites, Persians, and Axumites have all been picked twice. So yeah, this is our first showing of Babylon and our first showing of Egypt. And honestly, if you're going to play eco-greed games, if you're really going to hang back and do the eco-greed games, I think these are 2 solid picks. Hello, Solver. Welcome. Thanks for joining. For those of you who don't know, we have very active participation in the community from the Mohawk developers themselves. So for all of the wonderful entertainment that we get to enjoy, and of course all of the problems, we can blame Solver, or Fluffy, or maybe even Soren himself if he decides to pop his head in from time to time. And he just may. That's true. Great point from a commenter, Festic. You can, in fact, use the Jerwan for bath. So this is a bath location now. I love that. And I think that's a total fair trade because you can use this early on for science boost. And then, I mean, I think replacing a couple of these farms with Elder Doctor potential, yeah, I'd make that trade. Why not? Maybe it's not the most ideal thing, but if we can use the Jerwan to get to architecture easily, that seems like a decent enough idea. That would be really cool to see if we saw that level of kind of planning and complexity off that. I've never seen someone use the Jerwan to access a bath before, but man, yeah, that would be really clever, and that would be the type of play that would really tickle my brain, to be honest. I love when people do unique stuff. Riders, whatever the 4th family is, a note from Auro here. He's looking at iron. He has 2 precious. This is really nice site in terms of income. And yeah, I think I would put riders here. You can import horses. In fact, we need to do a horse check. There's horses here, horses here. All right, so he does have horses, but another horse location would be nice for the Egyptians. Their unique unit is very good. Yes, and the Mohawk people are very helpful with all sorts of technical issues. They have no issue rolling up their sleeves and getting involved. And no, we have not seen Greece. Wait, have we seen Greece? I don't believe we've seen Greece in the tournament yet. Okay, so we're getting a militia from Godlovesus. Not a fan of this. Really not a fan of this. And that's unfortunate. I'd be curious why we're doing this, especially because we're building another slinger. Maybe he really was worried about the melee unit situation in this, in these woods. I suppose I could understand that. But really, if you're going to do that... Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I can kind of understand that, but it always feels like a waste to do something like a 6 or 7 turn militia. Alright, what else are we looking for in terms of... We do have heirs, so our first white for the Babylonians is a gracious diplomat. That's really great, to be honest. I will take that. I mean, normally we talk about, you know, the early science benefits from our spouses or whatever, but 11 civics per turn, we're already making 39 civics per turn. That's kind of amazing. We have a spouse that's generating as much civics output as a city does. That's kind of fantastic. We've met the Thracians. The Thracians are on the map. I think we have a glob of Thracians all throughout the center. And then there are Gauls over there. And just over there, in fact. So that's going to be a slight advantage to Auro's side of the map. He's going to get a extra tribal meeting event and possibly, very likely, an extra tribal clear event. But I doubt that the Babylonians will scout all the way over here. In fact, speaking of which, Egypt has already explored. It's turn 12 here. And look at the scouting that we have from Babylon. This is the extent of the known world to the Babylonians. And then if we go across to the other side of the map, this is the extent of the known world for the Egyptians. So a little bit better scouting on the part of the Egyptians, of Auro, and I think you're going to see that from some of the more experienced players. I know nothing about Godlovesus or his experience level, by the way, but we are familiar with Auro being a relatively strong player. He did very well in the previous tournament, made it to like 8th place in terms of overall, 6th or 8th place in terms of overall tournament placement. So strong player, decent player, and yeah, I think what you'll see is strong scout priorities from some players, some of the skilled players. Really emphasize scouting the map early, getting a sense of where the sites are, getting that legitimacy from exploration, getting a sense of what your opponent may be up to, things like that. So it looks like we're looking at a turn 18 navigation at this point. Still a few turns to go. Might be able to shave 1 turn off. In fact, we do have the Jerwan coming on, so I wouldn't be surprised if we shave at least 1 more turn off that, making it about a turn 17 navigation. Is he one of these people? Some people do this, and I need to have somebody explain this to me at some point. And Auro, you're going to be the guy. I'm going to bug you privately after this match and ask you what the hell's up with the... Because I see people do this. They drop a road, and then they skip a tile and drop a road. And I just don't know what's up with that. I can't figure it out. Auro's not the only person I've seen do this. So I imagine that there has to be a logic to it. But I can't figure out what that logic is. So, here we are. Yeah, Solver. That's true. So yeah, I apologize. Yes, Auro is a skilled player. Do we have pins? Gross. This is one of my personal pet peeves in the game. Of course, this isn't as bad as Alcaraz does. Alcaraz starts his games and from turn 0 plans out his entire game from like turn 1, and I just think that's the most ludicrous thing. So every time you grab a worker on one of his games, you just see nothing but globs of nonsense, and it makes it so hard to interpret. I'm very glad that we have the setting that I only have to look at this stuff if I grab a worker. But yes, it looks like we're planning roads already with our early labor force. We're planning a barrack complex, going to get our horses online, you know, basic stuff, you know, improving all our resources. No other real long-term plans, it looks like, just, you know, hey, quarries. And this is the thing that gets me, though, right? Like, full respect to the people who use this. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just made fun of them all, so maybe not full respect. But, like, mine on the iron. that goes without saying, right? Like I find it fascinating that it's like we have to do quarry, 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 and also don't forget our wheat farm. Like, well, although then again, I shouldn't talk shit because one of my tournament matches, I ignored 2 groves for the entire game. I had 2 grove resources directly outside of a city, like right here, and I even beelined land consolidation in that turn. I went straight for it, and then I never put a grove on either of those two. A grove on either of the 2 luxury resources. So, yes, indeed, it is helpful to remember. I just can't stand to look at it in my own personal game because I don't know. I don't even turn the hexes on, right? The hex grid. I was watching Boldus's stream earlier. I just something about the way I play. I just like a clean, crisp, beautiful map. But of course, that's probably why I make tons of mistakes because I don't have any of the layers of information that plenty of other people are staring at because I just want to look at pretty trees and cute goats and nice mountains and rivers and stuff. So, you know, it probably comes back to haunt me in the long term. Almost done with this militia. Making effort to clear the site. In fact, I don't think either player has cleared a 3rd site yet. So that's actually good news for Babylon, who feels a little behind. He's already done with his quarries. He did his culture shrine up in these mountains, which is quite nice. Gonna get a little bit of a boost there. We're already just about to develop it here. 1 turn away. Let's do a comparison to the Egyptian capital, who even with the Jerwan built now is 11 turns away. That's going to be some of that power that you're going to see from an early divination, from a Babylonian capital. This is definitely clear culture rush potential. And again, we're getting drama in 3 turns. There's loads of distance between us and Egypt. So, I mean, yeah, this is a classic artisan's culture rush strategy, I would say. And I think with the strong and legendary thresholds having a good amount of wonders, if the Babylonians secure the mausoleum or the Buddhists, because both bring lots of culture, but especially the mausoleum, I think they'll secure the entire top half of wonders. Because I just don't think Egypt would catch up to an artisan's capital mausoleum play fast enough to secure these 4 wonders. So that's gonna be my prediction early on here on turn 15. I think that's the play style we hope to see out of Godlovesus. I think he's culture rushing. I think we're gonna see the theaters pop up in the Babylon real quick, and we will see a 4 legendary wonder, or certainly at least the Heliopolis, secure from the Babylonian player. And Heliopolis, of course, would be a great grab either way, because orders are orders. And Babylon has one of the worst order economies in the game. Not the worst, but one of the worst. And so, yeah, securing the Heliopolis for them versus Egypt would be quite nice. There is no Jebel on the map. The Jebel is always a good source of orders. The Stupa is on the map, though. That can count as orders. So hopefully we can see somebody grab that. And I think Greece would like to. Greece doesn't have the civics for it. Egypt is getting close to having the civics for it, but it's also getting close to navigation, so they'll need to make a choice. They don't have any stone yet, though, so they'll probably very easily choose the law. But sometimes you need to make that tough choice of, are you adopting that key law, or are you going to secure a wonder? And Egypt also built... Whoops, sorry for the flashback there. We have tons of workers right now. I'm going to do a worker count in a second. He's finally building his 2nd unit here. Did he? Where did this militia come from? Ooh, I'm curious now. I'm deeply curious. I wonder... See, so this is... If we were going to go for militia, I wonder... I missed this, but I wonder if Auro did this, because I was actually going to bring this up when we saw Borsippa building its militia. Because one thing you could do with a builder, it only takes half the time to build a worker, right? So you could just build a worker and then upgrade that worker into a militia and build another worker, and that's still probably more efficient than building a worker. Okay. I like this comment from Spooky Wolf saying, adopt a key law, build the wonder, or waste your civics on a bunch of random stuff by random crap by accident. And he thinks the meta, as far as he knows, is option number 3. I mean, well, yeah, it's entirely possible. Remember, we're not all perfect. All of us make mistakes, even myself. And we, as the observers, have the luxury of having perfect information and also no pressure. We are not on a timer. We're not up against an opponent. We can sit back, sip our drink, enjoy the show, and think, well, actually, this guy should have done that and that and that. And while that is 100% the joy of this experience and why we're all here, it's also easy to forget that as silly as the mistakes that our players may make, it's a lot harder once you're actually driving the nation yourself. And again, going back to the idea that I literally beelined land consolidation in one game, and then I had like 2 to 4 groves on the map that were in my territory. I didn't even have to expand towards them, and that I literally just never improved. So we are but humble and fallible conquerors. But yeah, of course, it's always fun to poke fun at everybody. Who doesn't want to see their friends fail from time to time? All in good fun. We have the Shrine of Namut, 2 shrines in the capital, which again is another thing that's making me think that we're Culture Rush, because we're going to get acolytes in here, and then if he manages to secure Zoroastrianism and then adopts mythology, in fact, I think he might even get close to legendary before he can develop all of that, to be honest. Curtis Nelson is asking, what does a Culture Rush entail? Happy to answer the question. We do have Babylon clearing this site. Settler ready to go. I want to track where Egypt is on their settler. They have a fresh settler. So it looks like, forgive me, it looks like both players will be settling their 3rd city at roughly the same time, although the Egyptians still have their free site available and they have 1 settler ready to go. So they will pick up that expansion momentum, it looks like, over Babylon, because Babylon is... well, honestly, they're behind in clearing. That's one of the things where when you're starting out the game, if it's on the table, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's tricky. And sometimes settling your free site is the right call. But if you can clear a barbarian site first and settle that site, or at least plan to settle it second before it respawns, that's kind of the way to go, because that basically buys you a free settle later on, because you expand in one direction, and as Auro did, you expand further in this next direction, and you don't really have to worry about settling the free site because it's free. It'll always be there unless a grumpy schemer decides to, whoa, we have a raid already? That must have been an event. That had to have been an event. I missed the event, but they do not raid this early. So we have a Babylonian raiding event, which is a little bit unfortunate for the Babylonians, but that's fine. I'm sure they can deal with it. Shut up, Solver. Okay, so what a Culture Rush entails is, so cities have culture, obviously, right? So we're at weak culture, we're generating 8 culture per turn. If we hop on over to Babylon, we just hit developing culture, and we're generating 13 culture per turn. So the thing about culture levels is this: while the resource costs of population, where is that? Citizens. I don't know why. I can't find it at the moment. But while the resource costs of your population in the city go up, so it becomes a little bit trickier to maintain if you rush it up too quick, right? Or at least without inflating your economy appropriately. What higher culture levels give you access to is at developing culture, you can start rushing with judge governors if you have any, which we do. So you can speed up production levels in your city. And there's other ways you can rush as well. So that's a core important thing. Getting a city to developing culture is very important. But also you get access to extra buildings. So right now, for example, we can build an Odeon. If we were not at developing culture, we would not be able to build a theater next. But we'll be able to plop down this Odeon, finish it in 1 turn, and then build a theater in 2 turns. And the faster that you can do that, if you think about, we had 3 culture from the Odeon and 4 culture from the theater, obviously having both is kind of going to be better, right? So what happens is, as you the quicker you level up your culture, the more you get faster access to better yields, I guess you could say. Because also with upgraded buildings, you get access to better specialists that give more science. So if you combine that with this key feature of the wonders in the game, if we look at our available wonders, there's 2 weak wonders, and Egypt already secured one. There is 4 developing wonders, right? And just for the sake of the argument, right now, Greece is the only one with a developing city. So technically speaking, they have first pick of any of these wonders until Egypt catches up, even if Egypt has better stone income or better economy right now. And that gets harder and harder. That gets truer and truer the quicker you get to these higher levels, because it can take a player 90 turns to get to legendary, or it can take a player in the same game 60 turns to get to legendary. So if you do a legendary culture rush in 60 turns, that means you have all the time in the world to get the economy you need, the civics you need to build all of these wonders, get all of these good effects, and get the points, the victory points for them as well. While if your opponent takes to turn 80 or 90, well, they're going to be 20 or 30 turns behind even having the potential to get these things. In addition, you'll have a better, stronger capital. So what I call a culture rush specifically is getting as much culture as you can, as fast as you possibly can, and typically with the goal of one of 2 things. Either trying to secure wonders, or maybe doing something like, this is very risky in multiplayer though, I want to add that this strategy I'm going to highlight is very risky in this dual format, but it can work when there's more distance, and this is a map with more distance, doing something like rushing scholarship, because the citizenship, scholarship, and jurisprudence arguably all pay off the best when you have a legendary city. So the faster you get to a legendary city, the faster scholarship or even architecture, the stronger they become, because you get access to better level buildings and better specialists. And basically, in a nutshell, that's the culture rush strategy. And the reason, Solver, I talked about other stuff for 2 minutes is because I didn't want to lose track of what Egypt is doing. See, we already know that they had their settler ready to go up here. They had a settler up the free site because I just talked about it 3 minutes ago. And now we don't have to catch up as much after my little rant. We do have military drill coming out in 3 turns. And that's great. What else do we have? We have sovereignty. So I'm thinking, I mean, sovereignty, the classic grab. That's 5 laws, though. 2 more, and we have a 7 law rush potential. And what that generally entailed, really briefly, is you get 7 laws, you spam out your unique unit a bunch, and then you go kill your opponent. And this is pretty rough terrain to do that with. And I feel like Auro's probably not going to do that. However, the Egyptian unique unit is the fastest unique unit in the game. Although the Hittite unique unit will probably be faster in all of these hills. So those are the 2 of the fastest units in the game. And so if you are going to rush someone with 7 law timing and the map is a bit larger, those are 2 nations where the choice is kind of excellent to try to attempt that gambit, because you can cross vast distances faster than your opponent might expect. Okay, we have a nice... did we bring in landowners? No, we didn't. Hate to see it. Landowners is by far my favorite family in the game, and I happen to be one of the few quote-unquote good players. I honestly don't think I'm as good as people think I am, but here we are. Whose favorite family is in fact the landowner's family. In fact, I was playing a game the other day, and I was thinking to myself, after having a really, really good game, after a couple of strings of not so great games where I was playing nations like Axum, or what was the other one? I think I played Persia and didn't have a great game or something like that. I was thinking to myself, man, you know what the problem might be? I think I'm just genuinely like a grade above my own skill level when I'm playing a landowner's nation. I just play the game better if I have landowners in my pocket to utilize and rely on their economic advantages. I love the family so much. So hate to see an Egypt without landowners, but sages and clerics is going to be a nice scientific late game powerhouse. You have this early strong science bedrock from the sages and the Jirwan, and then, quite frankly, I think no family scales better than the Cleric's family. The Cleric's family is a bit weak early on, but if this is a long game that goes late, your Clerics is going to come in clutch with multiple religions, multiple monasteries, even maybe perhaps a couple of cathedrals if you go down that route. So really, really strong family, but they really shine in the later game. Like, if you're not planning to end the game in 60 turns, relying on clerics getting stronger. They can still work in a 60-turn game. I play them earlier, but you kind of have to beeline religions, and Auro is not beelining any religions. So I think this is betting for a long-term game. I think the builder pick from both players is betting towards a long-term game. I think both players are probably aware that this is a larger map and a slower map that they're going to be on. I mean, Curtis, you're gonna learn some tricks, and you know, don't get disheartened if your first match doesn't go well, because you're gonna get commentary like this that you can watch after the fact. So you get to watch us say, "Hey, good job," and then you also get to watch us do, "What the hell? Why would you do that?" And from both of those things, you get to learn some lessons and get things reinforced. And I can say one thing that's very cool about these tournaments, and it doesn't matter, right? We're all playing for fun. I mean, it's a competition, of course, but a lot of us, I mean, just happy to play this game and happy to play this game with other people. But I can say, actually, one of the coolest things about the last tournament is that the skill level of everybody who played went up, at least to some degree. Like, there were people who I played before that tournament who literally, you know, 3, 4, 5 games, never beat me. And then those same people came back to practice for this tournament after that last tournament, and every one of them beat me. So it's like, if you're playing, you're participating, you're open to criticism, or you take everything in stride, and you join the Discord and you talk strategy. Yeah, you can get better. And you know, also, if you don't, who cares? Whatever. It's a fun game anyway, and so just have fun. Military drill also for the Babylonians, it looks like, I think. Did I catch that right? No, that's aristocracy. The game switched on me. So we have aristocracy for the Babylonians. Let's see if we have anything marked for them. Nothing really marked, nothing planned out for the Babylonians, though. But with aristocracy, we'll have a very easy sovereignty grab as well. In fact, let's do... I wanted to look at worker count. So it's turn 22. I'll do a stat collection or recap. Wealth is favoring Babylon, which is going to be nice for securing an early wonder if he wants it. 9 population for the Egyptians. That comes from having 2 extra other cities, or at least 1 extra city. 4 specialists for the Egyptians, but that's the Jirwan. This is what I was curious about. 5 workers already to Babylonians, only 1. Now, this could go one or two ways. A classic mistake from builders is you overbuild workers and then you choke out your order economy. But we know that Auro went directly for navigation first. In fact, has he adopted it already? Let's find out. I believe he has. Yeah, he's got 1 law active. Oh, good God. Yep, his first law. This is a core builder concept, in my opinion, especially if you are close to this law, which the Egyptians start with labor force, though they are. But he starts with labor force, beelined as early as possible, with like a turn 16, 17 navigation to serfdom, and then first lawed serfdom. And the reason why he's doing that is because, as I was saying, that one of the #1 handicaps to the builder is workers become so easy to build that you can build so many so quickly that you start choking out your order economy, and you don't have any orders to keep clearing or scouting or doing anything else that's important. But we actually have the orders to maintain these workers now because of that early navigation grab. So that's really strong play from Auro. And what I find fascinating here is that I wouldn't say... We have 2 workers now, which is nice. Well, so that's 3 total. Because we both players... Actually, that's 4 total. Never mind, because Artisan started with an extra one. Okay, so 4 versus 6 is not as bad as I was thinking. So I actually will say that maybe God Loves Us is doing a little bit more of a correct play on his end insofar as he didn't beeline navigation. So he doesn't really need too many workers right now. I don't know how I feel about the treasury. I think I would just... What would I do here? Honestly, I might build another worker, but another slinger would be valuable. Or frankly, if you're just going to toss something into the queue, I really like Hunt out of the Hunter's seat. So I've been known to toss out the occasional Hunt. But of course, Treasury early is not too bad because they actually do recoup the amount of cost of stone that you put into them over the course of the game. So it's not the worst thing, but I feel like you could probably just use a slinger better. We do have one coming out of the Sage's seat, though. What else is up here? Going for Poets right away, so we did an Acolyte, but we're going directly Poets, so not trying to pressure that Zoroastrianism. I think that's probably a mistake, and the reason why I think that's a mistake is because we know Egypt has access to clerics, and I really don't think that you want to tango with a cleric nation who's allowed to found too many religions. So that's one of the annoying things I find about going up against clerics, if I'm not a cleric nation, is that I kind of feel pressured to found a religion, even if I don't want to. You know, because I'm gonna say that you don't always need to get a religion. I think sometimes players overrate religions and the benefit that they add to an empire, which, don't get me wrong, they absolutely are strong and they add good benefits, but some people make it sound game defining if like you fail to win the race towards one or whatever. And I don't really vibe with that. However, the exceptions becomes, which is probably why I find it annoying, is the exception of that thought process comes if you're dealing with a cleric nation. If you sit back and you don't found any religions, and your opponent is a cleric nation, well then yes, that could be very game defining, because you don't want a cleric nation to just gobble up 2 or 3 or 4 religions and then just... Oh right, yeah, good point out from Festic. Treasury is culture too, so yeah, I hate that less. That's actually not that bad. I will build treasuries in Babylon. Honestly, I build treasuries in general. I am one of the people who does not... I don't really shit talk projects. I like them. I think projects get a bad rep. I think they're underrated. I think they have value. But they're, like many things in this game, they're situational. And the nuanced situational mechanics in this game, they can be difficult to get a sense of understanding of when you should or shouldn't build them. And even I myself, I'm sure I mess up plenty. But I think forums have value. I think archives are great, actually. I love archives. And treasuries are probably, I think, the project that I would value the least. However, I still build them. I still build them occasionally. And of course, if you get up to manor later in the game, they all become worth 1 training, which is super great. So professional army will make all your treasuries worth... 2 training. And so that's actually one thing that's nice to have them online early, because then you don't have to adopt professional army and then suddenly spend any build time on treasuries. So just going to catch up with chat real quick. Of course, again, if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, we appreciate you being here as well. If you're not a member of the Discord, join up. It's a great way to track the tournament. It's a great way to talk about the tournament. We have a spoiler thread to discuss completed games. We have a Theorycraft channel to talk shop about strategies. If you missed out on this tournament and you want to get in on the action, we will be looking for substitutes as players drop out. Just for clarity, if anyone wants to substitute into the tournament, you will have to adopt the current record of the player you're replacing. So let's say somebody loses their match in this first round and they decide, hey, this isn't for me. They want to drop out. You will have to enter the tournament with that player's record, with a loss on your card, and just try to do the best you can from there. But we are accepting substitutes for replacement players in the Swiss qualifying portion of this of this tournament. We will not be taking substitutes for the championship portion. We're just going to sign wins and losses if people are forced to drop out. But for the qualifiers, we are taking substitutes. So hop on the Discord if you're watching this live. or after. I assume if you're watching this live, you're already on the Discord. So this is mostly for any of you who happen to stumble upon this on YouTube. We are looking for substitutes. We are looking for more participation in the community. You can always get involved in the next tournament. Poll list now. So are we looking at a land consolidation beeline, maybe? Maybe forestry. We're in the middle of the woods. I could see that. Nothing marked on the Babylonian player, so he's not in the habit of kind of pinging out his destinations, which is fine. I don't always ping mine either. Yes, and there is no requirement of being Swiss to be a substitute in the Swiss portion of the tournament. Thank you for the clarification, Solver. Let's see that border boost. Oh, he could be saving this as well. Maybe he wants to settle another city. If he trashes border boost, I'll be surprised about that because there's lots of stuff to grab around in this territory. It'll be really disappointing to lose border boost here. So maybe he's trying to bide time since he's thinking he's relatively ready to clear another site. We really want to see another settler soon. So I'm hoping that either Babylon or Borsippa will build us a new settler. Honestly, I am a bit okay with Babylon staying on the specialist train. So if Babylon opts to, even though they have really good growth here, but if Babylon opts to build another poet or acolyte, I'm not going to complain too much because the poet is more science and more culture. The acolyte would get him of religion. So I'll let him off for that. But if he does make that choice, then Borsippa, or even back to the treasury idea, even Eridu, an 8-turn specialist isn't the worst. Sorry, 8-turn settler isn't the worst. So one of these cities in its next queue, in the next 2 turns, needs to build a settler. We need to get this expansion rolling. On the Egyptian side of things, we have a 5th settler coming out, ready to expand to a 5th city. We're already working on that next site. So a little bit of momentum. Oh, do we have Sword of the Gods? Okay, so what made me think that call out there, the Sword of the Gods, we do have it, is that we saw our builder switch to a general, and there are multiple different reasons why you may want to do that, but the most obvious one for early part of the game, and if you're not a general archetype, is that you lucked out and got the Sword of the Gods. That's going to really speed up Egyptian's clear time here. Look at this, he can do 8 damage to a camp. He's not a hero, he's not a zealot, he's a builder, but he's still going to whack this for 8 damage. So that's great. Hazard saying it looks like a hardwood forest map. Yeah, this one's really interesting because sometimes you can get a vast spread of forested terrain like this, and then other times, same map, same generation, same parameters, all of this could be just sparse plains, just temperate, wide open terrain. So there's a lot. Or, see how this area right here, how it's all snowy, mountainous terrain? This could even extend all the way over here. So there's a lot of variety in the way that this map generates, and I really love it. This is one of my favorite scripts in the game, and it's actually my favorite thing about this new tournament and how we're doing it is the fact that we have 18 different map configurations that all generate different arenas for players to be tested on. And basically the way that we're assigning those maps is such that even the championship player of this game, the player who wins this tournament this season, who will play anywhere between 8 to 10 games in order to be crowned champion. In theory, with the way we have our algorithm set out, every single one of that champion's game will be on a different map script. So I like that. So between of 18 different maps we could possibly play on, you will have to play on 8 to 10 of them in order to be crowned champion, which means you can't just practice one map script over and over and over and over again with a specific nation or a particular strategy and try to use that to your advantage for the entire tournament. No, you're going to need to adapt. You're going to need to look at the map that you're dealt each round and try to puzzle out what you think, you the player, think is a good nation or a good strategy to try and employ on that map. And I think that makes it so much cooler for the spirit of competition. And I also think it makes it more exciting for the players because you don't know what map you're going to play next round. You have to wait for that. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Really, really, really cool. I think it's my favorite addition to this new tournament, to this season. And I hope we do it again next time or something similar because the variety is nice. And yeah, Lots of good maps. It's also, in my experience, the meta for long-term multiplayers was kind of to avoid, oftentimes, the more diverse scripts like this, you know? We have the reason why the previous tournament used coastal rain basin, inland sea, and continent maps was because those were the most common multiplayer map scripts. Those were the preferred, generally the preferred scripts overall for the multiplayer community. So I think it's a huge, fun twist and step in the right direction to actually test players on way more diverse scripts, and maybe even scripts that they're a little less familiar with. Some of these players, not even just new players, we're talking experienced players like Auro, some of these players will be playing their maps for the first time, either in their tournament session or practicing. We have our miner coming out. We have barracks coming out. Like this setup, taking advantage of making sure he gets early military production set up. Auro, that is. That can be one of the things that you can accidentally fall behind, especially with an eco-greed strategy. You can think, oh, I'm going to gobble up all the wonders, I'm going to rush my culture, whatever else you might be doing, and then it can be turned 50 and you forget, oh man, not only have I not built a single barracks, I forgot to tech military drill. So in a duel setting, when it's eventually going to come to blows, military drill is one technology that you don't want to forget. And also it will translate to orders. Once you start building garrisons around these things, it's an extra 0.2 orders per city. And if you get 4 laws, it's an extra 0.4 orders per city. So you can basically, as long as you set up yourself up correctly, you can kind of consider 2 barracks to be about an extra garrison per city, basically, in terms of orders. Just about. Just about. We have a slums in Uini. I'm assuming that's how you say that. I don't know. So that could cause us some issues. We do have the site clear. We have a settler coming out in 2 turns. We're building another Shrine of Ices. Well, we're building a Shrine of Ices here. Where did we put our seat? Oh, man, I hate that the triangles are gone. Solver! Let's be a team. Let's get a hotfix going. We want that tournament announcement. No, I'm just teasing you guys. But yeah, doesn't even look like we're getting the civics. Oh, no, we are getting... Okay, so that's good. We're still getting the civics. So I double-checked this in case you guys didn't yet. But we are still getting the civics. We just aren't being alerted that it's the Holy City. So that's nice. I thought they weren't even losing. I thought the project was gone entirely. Because I'm pretty sure it was a project, wasn't it? I don't remember. Now I don't even remember. Maybe I'm just making stuff up. But we're going for a garrison already now with the Egyptians. That's orders right there. We're going to start with extra... That's going to be 7 orders... 0.7, excuse me, orders per turn. So that's really, really nice. Just 3 of these complexes in, 3 different cities. That's 2 orders per turn, which is, really good. Building another settler. So yeah, we're going full expansion. We're going to have some confidence in this Sword of the Gods play. Slinger coming out as well. I think we're making some good momentum here on the Egyptian side of the map. We got our culture shrine a little bit deeper. That's cool. So Auro opted, unlike the Babylonians, Auro opted to place 1 shrine down here first to expand the border deeper and then get himself the 6th culture. A deeper... Wait, I don't think that matters. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, a 4 mountain shrine over a 3 mountain shrine. This is one of those things where, I'm going to be honest, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this. Because I kind of have a mentality where just get the thing out, right? So, yeah, you're getting better culture, but I might have just built it right here, same as the Babylon player. However, again, Auro's probably confident this game is going to go long, so I guess trying to squeeze out this extra optimization is maybe not a bad idea. But I'm kind of a player who just is like a now type of person. Just get the thing built. Doesn't really matter where it goes. So I normally don't do this type of optimization unless I'm doing something really crazy, like a bunch of weird tile swapping stuff. All right, let's take a peek at Babylon, see how we're doing. We'll do our miner next, immediately after the... Sorry, my brain broke. The treasury. That's going to get us a delay. We still have 2 slingers. I think we can clear a camp with 2 slingers and well, 3 slingers. I apologize. We have 3 slingers and a militia. Yeah, we're fine on clearing momentum. So yeah, we can build that miner. Not too bad. How we're down there. We already have the miner, and we're building an apprentice officer. So that's great. And I think we're going to see something shine here from Egypt. Is that I actually think that Sage's cities kind of make great military hubs, because I would like, apart from generals and promotions, right? Or whatever. I'd rather the 2 civics over the 2 base training, because the 2 civics is going to get all of me done building with these officers quicker, done building with these miners quicker, and that gets me back to building units quicker. So I actually have a soft spot for it. That's one of the reasons why the Hittites are my favorite nation, or one of them anyway now, because I also love the USZ. But 2 civics in your cities is just such a great advantage. And sages, patrons, and statesmen are your civic families. And I actually think they make great military hubs, because you just get finished with your officers really, really quickly. We have an estate in the capital being pointed out. Oh, yep. Nice eye there. And there are no luxuries in the city, so yeah, very likely it came from an event. They were the developing culture event that lets you get an estate in your city if you want it. I forget what the other option is. I want to think it's a static culture boost, but honestly, I can't remember. Oh, there's one where you can get an estate or 3 farms. It probably was that one. Let's see if I can remember. No, I don't remember. Or at least it's not listed in this memory with the ruler. But yeah, 3 farms. Yes, and Hazard, you are correct. 3 farms or an estate. There are a couple of other events that also give estates as well. So there's more than one, but the one I was thinking of with the 3. Oh, see, and we were worried about the settler situation, and we forgot the fact that he tech drama. So yes, he did end up building his other settler, but he's going to have 2 settlers coming out in roughly a similar time frame here, because he had that free settler from drama. So he's opting to spend science on that. Speaking of science, let's see where we're at on that on turn 29 going to turn 30. We're getting a lead from Auro. He's about 150, 120-ish science above Babylon now. Probably because of a couple boosts or whatever. Well, actually, no, he started ahead as well. This with the Jerwan right here, most likely. And yeah, he's climbing ahead again once more at turn 29. Nice thing about Babylon, though, is that they get an extra science for every city. So it's pretty easy for them to stay in the science game. Generally, you know, they don't fall behind too bad, I think. That's one of their nice advantages. Hazard saying this is an interesting case study in science pump dueling. Yeah, I mean, you honestly, I kind of... You know, again, I can't really assess the skill of Godlovesus in relation to Auro. We know Auro is a strong player, but I think you're kind of seeing 2 concepts at play here. You're seeing sages, you're seeing Jerwan, a lot of science, you know, specialist-based science coming up real quick. And over on the artisan side, you're seeing the demonstration of how quickly he can get up different specialist buildings. We're going to go for a miner next, which I hate this. This should be your poet. And this is also, we trashed border boost. So we did trash border boost. We got Polis. Yeah, I think that's a misplay there, because if we're doing this to get the cattle, I mean, that's just a waste. Try, if you can, when you're playing. We have a drought. Okay. Doom has come to the world. And our road network is just lovely. Really nice getting this set up early. I actually love seeing Auro invest in setting this up early, because this is going to save him orders long term. Everyone talks about how order intensive it is to set up a road, but few people recognize the amount of long-term savings you'll generate from having it out and ready early. Of course, nothing wrong with setting up a worker chain later on and just going down and getting it all out of the way in a couple of turns. Also, Doom! Yeah, yeah. I have a habit in my games, whenever a calamity pops up, I just type out Doom in all caps. I love the calamities, which is funny because I didn't think I was going to. When the calamities were coming out as a concept, I really was kind of one of those players who like, oh, well, it's random and it's going to mess up games and strategy and blah, 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 blah. I completely did turn an about-face on that, and I love the calamities. I think I will ask players in my tournament matches to play with the normal calamity level. Official rules asks for very rare, but we can change that if we want. And yeah, if my opponent is cool with it, I think I'll try to play with either rare or regular calamity levels, because I think they're great. I think they add so much fun tension and action and cool moments to a given game. So we do actually have a drought here. So let's see who survived the drought. The Babylonians are still making 7 food per turn. And the Egyptians are losing 7 food per turn. So the winner of drought preparedness is the Babylonian Empire, surprisingly enough. You'd think it would be Egypt, but in fact, actually having no rivers on the map is a bit of a bummer for Egypt now that I think of it. Going back to that concept that Mountain Pass will not generate rivers, if Auro was aware of that, I still think Egypt is a good pick, because Egypt is a great pick for long-distance games, I think. But I do find it interesting that we did go Egypt, because, again, no rivers. Going straight for a Odeon in the city and a Poet, which, again, is going to be really nice for these sages cities. Both nations have sages. We have sages, hunters, and artisans versus sages, clerics, and riders. Who conceptually do I think would win that fight? That's really tough. Honestly, I think it depends on how long it goes. I think long-term, sages, clerics, and riders wins that fight. But, I don't know, hunters is always tough to invade. And once onagers and siege come online, hunters can become a problem also. And artisans can create cheaper siege. I don't know, between 2 skilled players executing their strategies perfectly, I think that could be an interesting matchup. Hazard making up an interesting point, saying no champions and a archer-based unique unit for both nations in dense forests. That's one way to look at it. The battlefield is not suitable for you. However, personally, when I look at a map like this, look at all these woods. You know what I see? I see 1, 2, 3. That's an archer. 3, that's an archer. 3, that's an archer. I see, when I look at a map like this, I see chopping sprees, chopping sprees, chopping sprees. Burn it all down and get yourself a massive army of ranged units. And then, okay, whatever. Maybe you fight one bad battle in the woods, but if you win it, it doesn't matter because you have a metric shit ton of ranged units. It can be risky, of course. But yeah, no, I look at all these and this is just money to me. This is resources. I'm gonna burn. If it were me, I would burn 80% of these woods down, and then I would use my lumber mills later on for upkeep, right? So, because for me, the way I look at it, I don't view lumber mills as income generators. I view them as upkeep maintenance, because in the first half of the game, or even in the mid-half when I have more orders, right, and I'm ready to go to war, I'm burning all the woods for my actual lumber. Again, maybe that's not the most efficient way to play. I have certainly lost games where I think I've probably overspent orders chopping down woods. But yeah, I tend to view the forest as, yeah, 1 metric shit ton of wood. Indulge! Oh, is he stressed? He's unpopular and stressed and crippled. What an interesting life this lady has lived. Let's see how we're doing on the other guy. We have a miserable, bold, intelligent. Wow. Intelligent has been nerfed. However, intelligent on a Babylonian builder is certainly not bad. We need to get more culture levels out onto the map. We need to get more cities out on the map so that intelligence can really shine. Snakes on a plane? What? Okay, we have an extra wisdom for the Babylonian leader. Or we can get some opinion by spending a lot of food. I think the wisdom's the clear thing here. Our political situation is fine. We can take the opinion hit for 20 years and get an extra wisdom. So that's going to be an extra 2.7 science real quick. Because we got some snakes on a plane. We're going for ironworking now. I think that's a good call. We're going to need more warriors in this thick forest. I was curious for a second there, seeing architecture in the hand, if we'd see an early Bath play. But while we have plenty of culture up here, we don't really have the culture down south in the Sage's seat to make it pay off. So I can understand not getting architecture. However, if you want to wonder spam, architecture is a good grab. And just to show people why real quick, you get that engineering law, which is 25% wonder cost. That also includes civics costs. So if you get it yourself an early engineering, which the Greeks are very capable of doing, by the way, that can set you up for a massive wonder spam game pretty easily. And if you have a lot of distance in the map like this and you want to sit back and hang back building a bunch of wonders, an early engineering grab can certainly be the way to try to flex that strategy. Also, there's about 20 people in the chat with me now. Thanks for being here. We've been streaming all day long and across various different YouTube channels. We've had 5 or 6 games playing today. Throughout most of the day, about 3 games going on at any single time. This is the last game of this particular day. And of course, again, if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, glad that you found us. Glad that you found your way here. Hop on the Discord and join in on the conversation. Really, really nice economic setup over here. In fact, let's take a look at that comparison between our two players here. Improvements finished. We have 31 on Auro to 18 on Babylon. So that's going to be the worker difference. That's going to be the order difference coming out in play. And then just general efficiency, I think. Really hamming up these quarries situation. So I think what we're going to see here is some wonder spamming coming online in good time for the Egyptians. And honestly, they're probably the best nation to do it. One of the best nations to do it. Because, starting with that 400 stone gets you first pick of any wonder you want. And that can just push your momentum forward. Probably a reason why Egypt is a very popular pick when the Jerwan is on the map, because Sages and Jerwan synergize, and you basically have the stone to guarantee that you're going to get this wonder. So that's a very, very common strategy. Egyptian Sages, Jerwan. So yeah, if we look at these two cities, right, let's compare this. This is Eridu, up in the mountains, by the iron. We just finished our miner, right? We do not have military drill yet, right? But if we go back and look at Auro, in Tamiat, look at this. We have 2 barracks. So all Babylon has in their version of this city is just these 2 improvements, give or take. I might be off by 1. So we're up a couple barracks, we're up a garrison, we're up a crap load of quarries, building another mine, and we're working. Remember, there's only the miner back in Babylon. There's the miner here, an officer, and in 3 turns, another officer. So this can start swapping. Look, we already have 3-turn warriors. This can already transition, once this officer is done, to spamming military units. So this is how you get players in a position where it's turn 33 now. By turn 60-ish, we're still pushing out towards the center of the map, even though there's all this harsh terrain. Look at this road network we've been building. Look how far we can get. It doesn't matter that we're in the woods. Look how far we can get. Now, if we cross the map to Babylon, I'm pretty sure we just had a settler come out. Here it is. Look at what we're doing. Look at the difference in movement capability between the two nations. If I want to get over here to expand, even right here. This is how far I can get to this site. Or even over to here, to this site. Now, if I make a comparison, this guy can leapfrog the distance of a settler that's standing about right here. All because of the roads and this lake tile setup as well. So that level of efficiency that you're seeing here, that difference in decision making and micromanagement, I suppose, is how you're going to see some players get up to turn 60, be fully expanded across the map, and ready to come at you with an army. Because again, once this is done and we're building, warriors every 2 or 3 turns, there's no reason not to build a warrior and just start migrating it towards your opponent. I mean, that you can spend your orders on other stuff, but if Auro wants to get aggressive with this in the mid game, he's building an empire capable of it. He's building an empire that's very versatile. Yeah, so we're a little bit behind in development. And do we have the ability to build roads? We don't, all right? Yeah, Babylon doesn't even have a labor force yet. So another strong pick from Auro there. Labor force allows you to start building roads right away. Obviously, lets you get to navigation quickly. So these are going to be... not having these yet for Babylon is going to be something that you want to make up pretty quickly. We're going for forestry now, though, so that should be interesting to see how that plays out long-term. Forestry in Sage's cities can give you really, really good science if you opt to build the woodcutters. Not always the best decision to make, but it's something I'll do from time to time, or, the quick landowner woodcutter spam for very easy 2 science. There are some options there, so I'll be curious to see if we see any of that type of play, or where we're thinking as Babylon to place our lumber mills. I wonder why we send this guy out here. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess that's the most efficient path out here because it's all thick, heavy woods. And of course, but with all those roads, we have connected status over in Egypt as well. Take a look at what else is happening. We have plenty of income in Babylon. Decent economy. I want to make a comparison there. 100 stone per turn for Egypt versus 32 for the Babylonians, and 60 metal versus 36. And 50 food versus 3. So definitely a stronger economy in Egypt for now. But of course, the Babylonians will definitely be the first people to get forestry and get wood income coming up. But see, that's what's interesting about it. That's what's weird about these maps for me, because I understand the logic. Where Babylon, we want wood income. We want to be able to support our unique unit or whatever, right? However, I actually have a hard time beelining forestry on maps like that because, again, my brain is so primed to just chop everything down. If you chop all of this down right here, this has to be something like 2,000 wood. And yes, that's a lot of orders, so I'm not saying you do it all in one go, but my point is, if I can make 2,000 wood literally just off of the land around me, from consuming it when I build mines or buildings or whatever else, right? Do I really need forestry for food income? Because this wood income over here will absolutely sustain me for the first half of the game. So I'm in no real rush to get forestry. Like I said, I'll do it later when my wood income, my wood upkeep rather, balloons to something like 30, 40, 50, and then it becomes a problem. Then it's a quick deviation to grab forestry, an even quicker deviation to just put up a couple of lumber mills, and next thing you know, you're back to neutral income, and you still have a stockpile of like 1,500 wood. But I would caution players who want to play like that, because you have to be making good choices with your orders. Even I myself, I think maybe I'm probably a little reckless with the spending the amount of orders I do on chopping forests. So exercise with caution. And we're finally getting to start up on our quarries up north in Eridu by the Atlas Mountains. Festick saying masterclass in development from Auro. Yeah, Auro is a very strong player. He's very good at rushing. He's taken me out with a couple of rushes, but he's also very versatile. He can play the long game as well. He's a versatile player that can play both ways. Unlike some of us who are exceptional in the short game, but not so great in the long game. There's basically 3 classes of player, I think. You have the Alchemist class, you have the Ninja class, and then, I don't know, I guess I would call it the Fluffy Bunny class. You have players that are good in the late, that excel in the late game. So they're waiting for the game to hit turn 60, 80, or beyond. And then they're going to start shining. They're going to really come online, and that's when they become a huge threat too, right? But then you have the opposite player, where they want to end the game in turn 60 or 80, where if it becomes turn 100, now they're thinking, shit, I have a problem. And that's where you're going to see players like Ninja, where, like, very strong player, but more often than not, if the game goes past turn 80 or he can't win by turn 90, he's having a problem. He might even just outright surrender because he tried to end the game already and then failed. I certainly fall more in line with that camp. But then there's actually a third type of player, which we don't talk about enough. And I think players like Fluffy Bunny, I think players like Aaron, I think players like Auro fall into this group where they actually are just steady. They can play the early game, they can rush, they can skirmish, they can fight early on if they need to, and they can play in the late game. They have strong economic buildup, they have strong late game potential, they have strong snowball potential, but they're just not as blowout exceptional, if you will, as like the early Ninja or the late game Alchemist. And in a way, I think that stability, in my personal opinion, translates to probably a more consistent win rate. I think you're more likely to win the game if you don't have a part of the game that, like, oh, this is my moment, right? If you have steady, I think that's probably the strongest thing about Aaron, is that he's just such a steady player, and Fluffy Bunny as well. He's such a steady, flexible player that he never reaches a point like I do, where it's like, oh no, it's turn 90, and I'm like, shit, I failed to end the game, I'm probably gonna lose. I don't think Aaron or Fluffy very often have moments where they're like, well, I missed my window, now I've lost. But people like Aaron or, Auro, nope. What am I thinking? Everybody has an A name. People like Alchemist. And then, of course, there's also the Class Koala class, our champion from the previous tournament, who has no idea what the rules are or how the game works, but just he's a savant at it anyway. Always asking questions, even though he does nothing but beat everybody constantly. So yeah, let that be a point to all of the newcomers in this tournament, that you can be a noob and still be great at this game. Class Koala came into this game, and he won every single tournament match in the previous season, and almost as if to intentionally troll us, after every single game would come onto the Discord and ask about 5 basic questions about how the game works as it pertains to the game that he just played. So this is a guy who seemingly has no idea what the hell he's doing, but he's kicking the crap out of everybody. So again, even if you lose your first match, don't sweat it. I mean, there's always, you know, who knows what will happen. It's a lot of fun. It was great to watch. It's lovely to watch Klaus play, and it's lovely to watch everybody play. So a huge shout out to our players for allowing us to spectate these games. Economics in Babylon is looking a lot better. Just a few turns later, a food solid. Metal and stone still need to ramp up, but we're starting to work on it. I really think so. This is the problem here. Now we're building a forum. So we did a treasury, fine, whatever. Iron mine, fine. But a forum, yeah, it's too much for me from this seat. I want to see military units, or more importantly, we still have a builder on the throne. Build more workers. Because the other thing is you don't necessarily need to use the workers, but you can have them for later when your order economy is where it needs to be. So even building an extra worker out of a build queue and just letting it hang for a little bit, or do some chopping if you have some extra orders, that's still more efficient, I think, because eventually your builder's going to die, which does seem to have... Oh no, we just switched to a zealot. We got an event that changed us to a zealot. We are severely ill, crippled in Egypt, but we're making some good use of this zealot before she gets sent down into the netherworld. Husbandry coming out in 1 turn. We did secure Zoroastrianism back on turn 27. A little bit of a delay in calling that out. Sorry about that. But yeah, the Egyptians did get Zoroastrianism, even though Babylon, for a minute there, did have a clear opportunity to contest. Remember, way back when we had an opportunity, we were building a poet when we had an opportunity to build a second acolyte, and at that stage, I don't believe Egypt had any acolytes. Maybe just one. So yeah, there was definitely an opportunity for Babylon to contest. And now with husbandry coming on the line, and I do not believe that Babylon is close. Yeah, well, Babylon can get it in a few turns, but I believe that could be two religions that are going to go to the Egyptians, which is just not ideal. Let me look at. All right, so I just need to take a. I needed to take a real quick break for a second. In fact, I actually am going to take. Where do I want to pause this? Where do I want to look for you guys? Egypt clearing up this camp, or Babylon doing stuff over here? We'll try to stay with Babylon doing stuff over here, although it looks like the camera's just going to keep going back and forth on me. But yeah, we'll keep the attention on Babylon because they've been looking at Egypt a lot lately anyway. And I'm going to take a pause and a little bit of a break for myself for about, I don't know, a minute or so. So if you'll just excuse me. Rainbow! It's awful. I want to burn everything. You smell great.
I may need joke. You're gonna need more mayonnaise.
Huh?
You're gonna need more mayonnaise than I bring you.
No.
I was looking for the Doritos to go bring you. And there's Doritos right there.
Okay. Great.
You ate them.
Hopefully nobody can hear me.
I don't think so.
Well, I see a green bar moving, but it's not supposed to.
Oh. Well, I love you. Also, when I came in, this was not plugged in.
I apologize if I didn't.
No, you didn't see aggressive. I was just like, yeah. That's true. I get that as an audience member. But yeah, you're the greatest.
All right, I am back. And the reason why I zoomed in on board support is because I want to talk about projects again. This was talking about how there are moments to build projects, when and when not to. This is actually a great example because for me, and I've had debates about this on Discord, and maybe I'm wrong, but basically I stand by my opinion on this. It's less about the project itself in terms of its civics cost, and more about the fact of its build time. So if you can get projects to something like a 2-turn build time because of overflow or whatever, then I think that makes it worth it. If you can build a forum in 2 turns, that makes it worth it. Because think of it this way, especially in the case of a forum, right? The forum will be the 1 civic boost in 2 turns. That's a pretty, it's not easy to get civics inside of a city. And the other thing there, unlike specialist costs, let's not forget, for those who don't know, every time you build a specialist, it increases the cost of all other specialists by 5% or 10%. I forget which amount. But the projects don't increase anything. So you can get specialist level yields sometimes, but it's very exclusive, right, to like civics or science or, things like that from a project. If you have good civics production in the city in a very short amount of time, because the cost of these things never scale. So ironically, the best time to build projects tend to be when you have a mega city that can build them super quick because their civic production is outrageous. Because if you can do like 3 different forums inside of 3 turns, that to me, the net yield is worth it. It depends on how long the game is going to last, of course, but oh yeah, looks like I'm having a little graphical bug here with this Thracian thing. I wonder what's up with that. All right, really, really strong empire from the Egyptians. It looks like we got a border boost at some point, and it was a solid one. We have lots. Look at all this territory that's in our borders now. The ghost tribes. Yes, indeed, indeed. Yeah, look at that. That's so weird. I've never seen that before either. So I wonder if it's an observation thing that I'm facing. More officers coming out in different cities. Forgive me while I chew on my sandwich. I apologize if it's obnoxious. But yep. Very solid foundational play here. We already have the iron mine in this hunter city. We can import horses if we need to, which we will need to. There are no horses here, so this is going to be great for our unique unit if we can get the culture up. We're also... Ooh, I like this. We're putting the +1 range unit shrine in the city, so that's going to be good for slingers, but also our unique unit. I think this shrine is very, very strong. And, yeah, really, really be if you play a nation that has this shrine, be mindful of the location you place it in. Don't use it randomly. Have an intent with it. Place it in a city. And like even the Hittites don't have a ranged unique unit. But I love this. This is my favorite shrine on the Hittites because what I do is I toss it in a city. Usually my second rider city or whatever rider city I'm not planning to import horses and focus on mounted units. And then I just spam slingers from it, even early on. Just build a couple of slingers because you're getting 100 trainings worth of XP right out of the gate. A free promotion for every slinger. Very, very valuable. And yeah, I love this shrine. It's probably the UAZ have this shrine as well, and the Egyptians have it. Ironically, I think those are my 3 favorite nations. Now that I think of it, my 3 favorite nations all have the +1 range shrine. I'm just noticing that for the first time right now, and that's kind of funny. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. It's really, really good shrine, though. All right, coming down here with Babylon. So interestingly enough, we're clearing this city. We're ready to settle this city, but Egypt never actually got this city. I wouldn't be surprised if Egypt never even bothers with this city, though, if they keep this forward expansion going, try to claim the center of the map. I'll actually be curious if... Oh, look, we're building roads. I love this. We were literally just roading towards our opponent. This is so... Look at this. Look at this. We've had the scouting... Okay, so My apologies to Alcaris and all those who use pins, because as the observer, I would not be able to see this impending strategy without the pins. So my deepest apologies to you all, because this is awesome. This is amazing. We are looking at an Egyptian player who is roading towards his opponent's side of the map. Oh yeah, look at this. They all have weird things. I hope I don't get more graphical glitches while this game goes on. But yeah, and we're doing it right now. We're like, this is it. This is the plan, is to just keep it moving, keep going, and that's great. Oh, see, that was a confusion. It looks like there was a unit there. What on earth? Oh, there is a unit. But now that's nice. If I mouse over them, it corrects itself, maybe? I don't know. I've never experienced this glitch before. We have a raid coming. So this is the issue. This is the issue Babylon's going to face. They're absolutely going to get backed in, because we're clearing this site now. Babylon's going to move towards this site. It's pretty well stocked, I think, because I don't know which one of these guys are real or not, to be honest. Let's see if Auro can help me clear it. Oh yeah, Auro helped me clear it. Great. Okay, so we have some level of tribes here. And Auro is aware of this. He has 2 scouts in the region. Babylon's going to try and come up here. And I think even in the time that it takes Babylon to clear this Thracian site, our Egyptian friends will be crossing the Krivose, yeah, sure, plateau and the Deriba volcano, and settling a city right by the volcano. And of course, the Babylonians will see that coming, so we could get some early woodland skirmishing happening. We have 1 warrior and 2 slingers for the Egyptians, and 3 slingers, and did we lose our militia? Ooh, that's not ideal. We spent 6 or 7 turns building a militia, and it died. That is not great. Another thing about this, if you're watching after the fact, especially to Godlovesus himself, if he happens to rewatch this game, don't sweat your first loss of the tournament, especially in the Swiss, because I know I've said that more than once, but I'm probably going to sing that tune for the rest of round 1 for all of our new coming players. And the reason I say that is because all of the players who lose their round 1 match are going to be paired against each other in round 2. So not only are you going to learn from any mistakes you made, or just, get a better sense of the vibe of the multiplayer arena, you are also going to be paired against other players who might have struggled or had issues in their first game. So you're going to have a better matchup. In this first opening match, we have situations where, we'll have highly skilled players who might be paired against opponents who might be coming into the multiplayer game for the first time. We have the Ishtar Gate being built in Waset. Waset's nearly strong, I imagine. Yeah, we're already strong in Babylon. That makes sense. How much? We're only 6 turns behind strong, so we're catching up. The estate certainly helped. That certainly helped a bunch. Yeah, so don't sweat your first loss, because plenty of opportunity to learn, plenty of opportunity to practice, and you'll very likely have an easier matchup in round 2 if you faced a harder opponent in round 1. And some of our matchups in round 1 will be very well evenly matched as well. It's not random entirely, but it will be a little bit random, because we don't really know where everybody is. We know where some players are. We probably have a sense of like seeding for like half of the roster, but everybody else, you just kind of have to throw them someplace and wish and hope for the best, right? That's why we went with the Swiss option. That way, as players win and lose the game in the qualifying portion, they will get paired up against better, more even matchups. And so that should give more players a shot to do well and qualify for the championships. And then, of course, once we get to the championships, it's on. 2 turns on husbandry for the Babylonians. Going to be a turn 42-ish husbandry. We're building pastures in Egypt now. So I'm thinking they will secure Zoroastrianism. I'm sorry, not Judaism. Interestingly enough, we're building an 8-turn opulence project in Egypt. Let's try to figure out why we do. Oh, we have an ambition. So there's an ambition, and we also have enact 4 laws, which is now a legacy. I haven't really been keeping track of the events all that much. My apologies. I don't really track the events too much, even though I know a lot about them. If something comes up that raises a question mark in my brain, then I'll usually check out the events to see what's going on. But I don't always go to them quickly. Politics in Babylon is decent. Politics in Egypt is okay. We have a friendly Sage's family, which is quite nice. We have raiders coming towards the city of Ur. And we'll be able to clear that in time. Yeah, we have decent movement here. We'll be able to clear these guys out. Solver just like to troll me. I'm not saying God loves us losing. I'm just saying that he's about to be in a predicament if he has Egyptian cities on his border before turn 50, because that can make players feel pressured, and morale damage is very much a thing in this arena. We've all taken hits and losses to morale damage, thinking we're in a worse position than we are, whether that's true or not, right? So I was saying that in anticipation of the idea that in a moment, actually possibly right now, next turn, oh, did I just lag out? Maybe I'm lagging. Maybe that's what this is. But yeah. Oh, and there's the dead scout. Yeah, so in a moment, the Babylonians are going to become astutely aware of how close the Egyptians are. And now they can't even see them. In fact, let's go back to the scouting map. So now we have, this is the known world according to Egypt. And let's look at the known world according to Babylon. Big difference. So Babylon just breached this mountain pass here, and they were met with the sword of Egypt. So that's going to cause some morale damage. First of all, you're thinking, oh no, there's a warrior. So clearly he's cleared up to about here now, when I'm stuck back here, if you can intuit that much from the map. Another raid towards Babylon. That's the other thing that's going to suck. All these raids are going to head towards Babylon, which is also going to make it easier for Egypt to clear this site. But yeah, so the morale damage is real, and I think what will happen is if we get a settler, which we're building one, aren't we? No, we already have one, see? We already have... This settler's coming up. We're going to spot this, and we're going to have a settler. And that's going to be hard, because you're going to be thinking, well, shit, my opponent has 7 cities, I have 5. Now they'll have 8. They have militia on my border, and this is a full-blown transportation network. This is... I agree with Festic. This is a masterclass in development. I really love the roading here. And again, we do not even have traders, workers. We have so many players who complain about roading when there's no traders, workers. And dude, no, just get it done. Invest. Invest in it early, and it will pay dividends later on. All of the units that have been coming down here through this road network, they have recouped the cost of building this road network already. Like, if you actually sit down and do the math on it, you'll realize that once you build a big road network, like, you know, I don't know, what is this, 20 tiles or something like that, 20, 30 tiles. If you cross something as little of like 5 units across that road network, it will pay back itself in orders. It doesn't take a lot. It only takes like 5 some odd units to pay back a road network. And I mean, from like, you know, you build, this settler came from the capital. So this settler is practically paying for this road just from moving along it. You know, he's helping recoup that cost. Look at this distance. This is incredible. So yeah, very, very valuable investment. Love to see it from Auro. Who else did we see do this last game? I think it was Rincewind in the last tournament did this as Rome once. He just rapidly expanded super fast, and the entire time he was also building a road towards his opponent. And I think he won that game. I think that was one of the times Rome beat Carthage. And I think it was Rincewind. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, so roading is valid. Aggressive roading is totally valid. If it were me, I would probably dedicate a second worker to this. I love doing the worker chain thing. The worker chain is you put 3 workers in a row, right? You pull from the back. So there are already your roads down. You build your 3 roads. And the next turn after your roads are built, you pull from the back, not the front, the back. Because if you do that, you'll be able to move directly up the 3 spaces without spending an extra order. It's just the 1 order, and you can build your road. And then once you have the road here, you'll have a worker in the back here, and you do the same thing. Move up, build. Move up, build. You can do that with 3 workers, and get this. The efficiency of building a road network with 3 workers in a worker chain is the exact same order efficiency as building a building a road with a trader's worker. They both of those strategies take exactly 6 orders to build 3 roads in 1 turn. So it's the same efficiency as the trader's worker, you just need 2 extra workers to pull it off. But order efficiency, it's the exact same. So worker chains are useful. But of course they take extra workers, so I think Auro is doing fine here by just using the 1 worker. 3 turns to sovereignty on Auro. Looking at machinery and hydraulics next. If we really succeed at this beeline, this will definitely be GG. Having some ballistas careening towards you over a well-developed road network early on in the game is nightmarish to deal with. Let's do another double check of Babylon's current situation. We're getting our free Akkadian archers, which is actually not too bad. Honestly, this is decent timing. I don't think we have 5 turns. However, if these can show up, honestly, conversely, Babylon needs some roads, because they will not, they won't we need 5 turns for the archers to show up, and then they have like another 5 or maybe even 8 turns to get all the way over here, which is unfortunate. However, what I was going to say was, since we're getting to the point of starting to contest territory against their opponent, this is actually the best time for these guys to start showing up. However, we don't really have the road network to support their movement, and I think we're going to run out of time. I think this site's going to get cleared. I really wish I knew how many units were actually here. 2 of them are... Two of them are raiding, but... Oh, I can look at this. Okay. Right? Can I look at that? No, I can't. Okay, so there was a unit here. This unit is real. Okay, I can click on the unit. Great. This unit's real. These 2 are not. So there's only 1 Thracian skirmisher remaining in addition to the camp guard. So it's possible, although it is about to upgrade. So I don't think Auro secures this before. Oh, maybe he does. This is going to do 7 damage. It's possible he could secure this before it upgrades. Yeah, dude, obviously moving the workers into a worker chain and out of the worker chain is also more expensive. I'm just saying the actual process of building a road itself. Once they are in position, if you put 3 workers back here from a sage's seat, and let's say we put sages, where's our sages? We have sages out here, and you build a road all the way to this sage's city, and then you just leave the workers there. Because that's what I do, personally. Not to, like, I understand what you're saying. But that's what I do, personally. Like, that's why I call it migrating workers. I take workers from my core, line them up in a worker chain, migrate them to the other city out in the distance. So now my 3 traders workers came out here, and then they can start improving. They actually they don't need to return anywhere. Or, if you're being aggressive, right? Because again, I understand what you're saying. Taking this worker back to home territory costs orders too. But we're not going to do that with this guy. Because we're either going to settle sages out here, in which case our sages worker is already with us. Or, even if we don't settle sages, we're going to leave them in the regions to start chopping woods or building forts. So it's like, this guy, there isn't basically, for me anyway, when I do the worker chain thing, more often than not, my workers go to wherever they're going. Like, there is no, let's return back to the city and improve. It's like, no, those workers become the worker chain, and then they become combat workers or choppers or tactical workers, or they land in a city that's hopefully conducive to their family. Sometimes I'll do different type families, because then I can drop different workers off on the way. That's another way to do it. So yeah, you're right. Setting up the chain and then breaking it down does cost more orders, but I just mean in the context of building 3 roads per turn with the single traded worker, the exact same efficiency as 3 workers in a chain. But yes, spending it does cost extra orders to set it up and break it down. Sure, 100%. Hydraulics pretty questionable, we're saying. I don't know. Because there's not a lot of woods right here. There's not a lot of woods right here. So we're going to have 8 cities to our opponent's 5, right? We're going to set up, we're going to contest this one. Maybe we take it, maybe we don't. But if we do, then this is the battlefield. So we chop all these woods, and one of 2 things happens. We either sit back and start wonder spamming, and we're going to win the game because there's no way our opponent can attack into Hild, Onagers, and Ballistas and outproduce us with only 5 cities. Or we fight a battle here and either do or don't win the battle, but if we win the battle, then our opponent is just going to be like, well, I can't do anything with 5 cities. Even if we lose the battle, again, same thing. What are we going to do? We're going to lose 1 city if we lose that battle, maybe a second one. But then by the time we're pushed back to here, look at all this open terrain. We have Onagers and Ballistas. Again, this is under the assumption that Babylon manages to push Egypt from this region all the way back to these mountains. Then yeah, we have all that time of that movement and conquest to build more Onagers and more Ballistas such that they will absolutely get stopped at this mountain pass. And now we're back to being even, and we've had a better economy the entire time, which means we're in a better position to spam wonders, because what Babylon had to do for the last 20 or 30 turns in that entire time was push us back to our side of the map. So I actually think Onagers and Ballista is not too bad with the position that we have here in terms of map dominance. And of course, Auro doesn't necessarily know that, but he does have good scouting in this region. So he kind of does know that. He sees a bunch of wounded units. He sees the Babylon with only 5 cities. He sees the Babylon with raids coming towards him, an uncleared camp. So Auro has no real reason to not to pressure this, and then not to go for a core defensive arm of the tech tree and go for Ballistas and Onagers and say, hey, I have 3 cities in your side of the map. I dare you to take them from me. Because Babylon probably won't be able to. Because attacking into siege is one of the hardest things to do in this game, especially once they're set up. So if we can get an established foot on this side of the map as Egypt and then set up siege weapons, that is going to be a tall order for the Babylonians. But sure, there's no water mills on the map, so it is questionable on some level. But I feel like Auro's making that decision from perhaps an interpreted position of dominance. He's making that decision, rather, I think I said position twice. He's thinking he's making that decision, I think, from a position of dominance, in which case, I vibe with it. I don't know, it makes sense to me, I guess. Civics boost for the Egyptians? How many laws do the Egyptians have? That civics boost will be able to get us our next 2 laws. We'll have a 5 science constitution, or we can just ramp up our training further with tyranny. And of course, we can enact epics. So if we do skirmish over here, we will get all that culture funneling to this forward settle. Which, if we do riders here, have we imported horses yet? No, we already did. Oh, that would have been funny. If we did riders here, we could import horses here and get ourselves into a position to frontline our unique unit through epics. That would have been really, really cool to see. I've actually become more and more fond of epics lately. And this was a great map for epics because, again, no exploration. Yes, you have the exploration events for that law, but there's so much clearer potential to turn all of this into culture. And since you kind of settle in a little bit of a line anyway, you'd get culture funneling to this city, then culture funneling to this city, then this one. Kind of nice. All right, so these two Thracians are real. This one is still fake. We have 2 Thracians guarding the camp, in addition to its actual camp guard. And he is going to be able to clear it before it upgrades. Now we have 2 workers in the region. And yeah, so to the point of the worker chain situation, if we choose to settle this sages, first of all, we're going to be all connected already, because we have perfect connection in our empire. So we don't need to worry about riders' connection. And we're going to get the extra citizen from the sages settler, because if you settle a city the same family as a settler, you'll get an extra citizen. And we'll have 2 workers right in this region. This city won't even need to build a worker. It can go right into anything else Auro wants. So I'm curious what he'll choose to settle here. We have 4 sages cities, only one cleric city. I don't even know why he brings clerics in at this point. And so this actually might end up being clerics because it might have to, but he might not care. He might not care. 3 light chariots coming on in 3 turns. So that's actually going to match the timing almost with the archers. Only 3 turns behind on the Babylonian archers. All right, let's see what we choose to settle here. We are pulling... Oh, we didn't pull from the back, but I guess it doesn't matter in this situation. Because it's only 2 workers. And we did riders. Okay, not too bad. That's fine. Because, again, these workers can still improve this territory, but we are now connected. I might have done sages. But he's probably going to go into a warrior or slinger, so I guess that makes sense. All right, yeah, so this is a real problem for Babylon. We have 2 raids coming in. We know our scout died in the woods. If we go over to Babylon right now, I mean, this is the sum total of our vision. This is the sum total of our exploration, even. So, we have no knowledge of the fact that the enemy... We know that the enemy warrior's out here, but that could have just been a defensive grab, right? We could have just had a nearby warrior that said, hey, get your scout away from my territory. But no, we have an aggressive Egypt with a pipeline of roading to just send units. Like, honestly, if I were Auro, I don't even think I would be building any of... Like, I don't think I'd bother with the Disciple. This gives me 2-turn slingers, 2-turn warriors. I would be all in right now. But that's also how I get myself killed. So, don't always make the correct play. Back to Babylon, we're on sovereignty. Let's do a science check. Auro is at 78 science to 62 with a 400 science tech lead, about 450 science tech lead. So that's only about, 2-ish technologies, give or take, plus or minus, for the Egyptians. Although, let's look at the exact breakdown here. 3 technologies for the Egyptians to 10 the Babylonians. Warrior coming out. We're going to need that. Another warrior coming out. I just don't think we have a good development at this stage. These archers are going to be clutch, though. We need to get them to the front line as possible. Let's look at orders as well. We have 14 orders in Babylon to a whopping 29. That's plus or minus worker turns at the moment. So a sizable lead for the Egyptians over the Babylon. I can't speak, sorry. Let me take a sip of water. Interestingly enough, both nations are relatively weak for turn 45. Auro has been putting in a lot of work with the efficiency of moving his army around, I think. But he does not yet have a particularly strong army. However, he is going to come down with those light chariots, and we're going to see the funnest thing ever. We're going to get some light chariots spawn and watch that, and we're going to watch them clear half the map in one turn. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch that happen. And comparatively, these guys just took one turn to get here. They're going to take another turn to get here. So these units are going to do 1, 2, 3-ish, 4-ish, right? They're going to take 4 turns to get to where they need to go. So somebody remind me in 3 turns to do that same math on the light chariots. Because I feel like the light chariots are going to get to this region, so either Shadet or Lake Larius, if we're actually fighting. I think the unique units from Egypt are going to get here in 2 turns. So, over 50% as far as these guys need to go, but twice as fast. And personally, for my money, I think sometimes it's treated as a bit of a hot take, but I think the Mounted Lancer is the best unique unit in the game. Its mobility is unparalleled. And I think that mobility translates to power in so many different ways. And if it's not the best unique unit in the game, it's certainly my favorite. My personal favorite, indeed. Because that's the other thing. Once he has a couple of those guys, if he starts a battle here, Babylon will need to fight and defend. But then he could just send Mounted Lancers past the fight. Start attacking this city. Start attacking this city. Go straight for the capital. Babylon won't be able to do anything about it. Even 2 Mounted Lancers could ruin the day of the capital up here. And especially with no roads, right? It takes this guy 4 turns to get here. Imagine if through Force March, the Mounted Lancers just got up here in 2 turns from this location. I mean, good luck catching up. Very, very strong at blitzing. Oh, it's Auro's turn, and I didn't check. Yep, 2 turns. Where were we at? Still building stuff. Almost done with the opulence. This will probably convert. Almost done with the Ishtar Gate, too, by the way. So we're going to culture bomb this. Let's see how big of a culture bomb we'll get. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. Good God. 5, 6. 6 events. That's a good point. Skipper says, I just wish the light chariot stayed chariot when it upgraded. I agree. I think the Mounted Lancer is a little bit of a weird unit. I don't quite understand it why it's a ranged unit, because it looks like a melee unit. But I do love it. But I agree, though. I wish it was a chariot. You can adopt a law as the Babylonians. We'll be getting exploration or epics. Yeah, we're a little behind here. Our opponent already has 4 laws, yeah. Which is funny, because our opponent currently states as weaker than us. But boy, not for long. Boy, not for long. What's the heir in Babylon? It's going to be a bloodthirsty commander with ranger. Ranger is going to come in handy. Commander's not too bad, too, in a pinch when it comes to a fight. Oh, and our opponent... Oh, wait a minute. Don't we have a zealot on the... No, we have a scholar on the throne. She's ill, though. She's had Sword of the Gods, too. We got to pass Sword of the Gods down to our heir. And also robust. Are we both? No. I thought that was the starting ruler again. No, it's Ipet 2. Yes, it's the fact that they have 4 movement. But here's the thing. It's not even just the fact that they have 4 movement. It's 2 different advantages. Right? Am I right about that? They have 4 movement. Oh, yeah, they don't have the extra fatigue. They have the regular fatigue as a horse movement. Yeah, so it's the 4 movement. The only unit that's as fast as this is the camel. It has 3 movement, but 1 extra fatigue. So it can actually move the same distance, except the camel costs an extra order to do it. So it's the 4 movements is actually more efficient. But it's also, they have 6 vision. So they can see far, too, which also comes in a lot, very handy. I just think they're so versatile. You can do a lot with them. You can focus fire. 2 range on a bunch of hills is going to be come in handy. Of course, yes, the woods is not ideal, but just go around. Just go around them. Literally, like, you don't want to fight in the woods, just go straight for Babylon. Who cares? Take six lancers straight past an army into Babylon. It's not like Babylon is even remotely set up to wall this off from lancers, right? So if you get 5 or 6 lancers, just start a fight here, get Babylon to make 1 or 2 turns invested in this fight, and then take 5 lancers and just go straight for Babylon and laugh the entire time. While Babylon goes into complete disarray because they can't react in time. I should play Egypt. I talk about them enough but I didn't play them at all last tournament. Well, I only played 2 games last tournament. Who did I play? I played Babylon last. I don't know why I played Babylon. Babylon's one of my worst nations, but I played it against Alcaraz. And then I played Carthage, who I hate. Yeah, I'm not really sure why I played either of those nations last season. All right, light chat in 1 turn. We want to keep an eye on this. Come back to it. I'm going to hang out on Babylon's turn for now. Let's hope we remember to adopt this law. Well, I mean, I guess we kind of don't really need either of these right now. Maybe epics could be handy, but... These units are real. These 2 units over here, I don't believe are real. Skipper, you're a man after my own heart. Hattie is one of my favorite nations as well. I think they're fantastic. I think they have arguably the best economy in the game. Certainly one of the best economic nations in the game. And they're just very versatile, very strong. I think Egypt, ironically Babylon too, but I think Egypt and the Hittites and Babylon are very, very, very good duelist nations that I think are overshadowed by some of more aggressive picks like Persia or Carthage. But I honestly, I think Egypt is probably pound for pound the most versatile nation in the game. I think they're terror. All right, so look at this. This is 1 turn. Okay? From 1 movement. You better believe we can get all the way over here on the next turn. In fact, this is a forced march. So forced march is double fatigue. So this would be 2 movements. So exactly, we're going to get to Shadet in 2 moves. Oh, okay. Well, cool. Nice to know, Skipper. Thanks for correcting me. I appreciate that. Wow, yeah, we're going to make it all the way here in 2 moves. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now we have workers in the region. Look, for more... See, this is the thing. The train never ends. Although he is actually opting to build a barracks. And he's doing it with an off-type worker. So that's always an option, too. So you don't necessarily need to... Although I guess, in terms of order efficiency, since I was talking about the chain with order efficiency, I guess you do lose a little bit by using the off-type worker here. So that comes in handy with the calculation. But yeah, the Hittites, man, I agree. Fantastic nation. Fantastic nation. Machinery in 3 turns for the Egyptians. We're going to be able to apply more pressure. Yep, there we go. Zoom number 1. We have Ranger promotion access if we want it. We also have the Eagle Eye. And we have Highland. Oh, yeah. So we have great promotion options with these guys, too. Which is really nice. What's general potential? Why does it auto-turn on me sometimes, and then it doesn't other times? We have Hero. We still have Sword of the Gods. Gross. And again, Egypt can see this. Egypt has vision on what's happening. Egypt has complete vision of the area that he needs to know about. Let's take a look at what this might do for damage over here. 7 damage on this tile. 5 on that scrub. 10 on these guys who are out in the open. So we are in alpha strike range. You know, 2 more turns and we can make an alpha strike if we want to. I don't think we're really built up for it. Both players are similar now. But I don't think I don't necessarily know that we're in alpha strike position. We're still building officers everywhere. But this is smart. I was talking about how I would be building units and try to go for the guild. But this is what's smart, because this is what goes back to me, what I was saying about Auro being a steady player. He's investing, even despite his advantage, which he can see. You know, you could choose to smell blood in the water right now. But Auro's still investing in the long term. He wants officers set up. He's not going to dive in and make a misplay, get too greedy, even though he's still being aggressive, right? He's doing both. Where some players lean too heavy into the aggression. They smell the blood in the water and they just go, go, go. And other players are too cautious, right? And I think Alcaraz and myself are the two great examples, because we're not really the best players, but we're also not really the worst players. We're kind of like mid-tier in terms of skill, I think. And I think we're both the best example of those two different diverging archetypes, where I lose because I get too aggressive, but I also win because I'm too aggressive. And then Alcaraz will lose because he's too greedy, he's too cautious. But at the same time, that's also one of the big reasons why he wins, because it's those diverging play styles. But you have players like Auro, who he's just consistent. Aaron, he's consistent. And that I think overall that's probably the better way to play. Just a balanced approach. Still about 18 people, nearly 20 people in the chat. Appreciate you guys spending time with me, watching the game. And, you know, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to ask for stats about the game. I haven't done a stat check in a while. Looking at military score. Look, both nations shot up because of their unique unit card. That's always cool to see. Let's look at economy. Woody econ for the Babylonians is great. 15. Going to increase further because, you know, we have that early... lumber mills. Don't know what potential that's going to really give us long term. We have amazing food for the Egyptians. 148 food on turn 50. I love that. Iron. Wow, yeah. Auro's economy is fantastic. We have over 100 of every resource, which is important. Our order economy, 36 to 20. 84 science to 62. Camps cleared 6 to 3. 4 laws to 1. Looking very, very harrowing, for the Babylonians at this stage. Worker taking damage. Again, with my level of aggression, I would probably come in here and just try to kill this thing just for the opinion hit, because I'm a troll like that. Oh, and politically speaking, good Lord, look at this. Everything is humming along in Egypt. Even though we have two different religions in these families, Zoro and paganism, perfect religion, perfect friendly politics in our three families. So that's going to be a combat bonus for the Egyptians. And if we go over to Babylon, we actually have an upset family. So it's going to be a combat penalty. And then the other two families are more or less cautious, is fine. But we do have a pleased family, which is nice. So we'll have some bonus on sages units. But we actually don't really have we have 2 sages units. The rest are actually our artisans family. Our artisans family makes up the bulk of our army, and they're upset. So that's going to be, what is it? That's 5% penalty there. And what's the advantage for friendly? 10? 10, yeah. So that's a 15% damage swing just because of family politics between the different nations. So that will play a factor. All right. Looks like we didn't take the full movement on these guys. Well, we've promoted. We hit. Not awesome. We went for Ranger. I like that. I actually think that's the better pick than Eagle Eye in this particular situation. You almost always want to grab Eagle Eye, but I actually don't hate the Ranger's selection in this situation, especially if you want to start flexing your hand right now. And I feel like we're going for it because these are some low health Acadians. So if we can swoop in real quick and kill at least one of them without losing our own unique units, I think that's a well-worthy trade. Another thing I would be thinking about doing at this stage, that we have our Highlander promotion on that unit as well. Are we building any military? We're building light chariots out of Tamat, which is great. We also have started the museum, securing a long-term advantage there. Any wonders for Babylon? Babylon built the Apadana, missed calling that out. So we do have a wonder in Babylon. Let's take a look here. We got the Apadana. I kind of think this was a misplay here because we all know that Babylon... I don't know why. I'm talking funny. But Babylon got to strong before Egypt. And this is a relatively recently started museum. So I think there was a window of opportunity here for the Babylonian player to secure the museum. So I would just say to God Loves Us, if you happen to rewatch a stream looking for tips and advice, if you're going to culture rush like this, really prior those major wonders. And I think in the strong selection, the two that we're looking at are Museum for increased science or Mausoleum to just close out that culture rush even more and really just cruise to legendary easily. Abaddon is a good wonder, but I feel like you're not really spread out enough for it, you know? You don't have that connected status. You could have had that connect status if you went for roads. So, you know, Abaddon is going to help there a little bit. But really, you only have 5 cities, so maintenance shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let me check your econ, actually. Yeah, your econ's decent. You know, you got 50 of most of the resources coming in. Like, that's pretty okay. And you're also positive in gold. So yeah, I feel like Apadana, you know, maybe you were in a gold deficit because it's just about to be finished. So maybe you were in a gold deficit when you started it. But even so, probably not the best pick in this situation. And we have a nice conga line ready to head into Babylon. The Egyptians have come to party. They've come to tango. And let's see what we can see. This is the extent... The Babylonians can... This glitch is driving me nuts. There's a Peltast here. Peltast here. And that's it. Okay. We're not going to be able to take the city. I think Egypt might actually clear this. We put the Sword of the Gods on the general. We're coming in. We're going to clear it. We can kill a settler if we want. Look at this mobility. We're off the roads at this point, and we can still get this close. We have our pick of killing anything we want. This is going to be disastrous. Turn 52, year 52, will be the moment that the Egyptians strike into Babylon. And Babylon has no idea what's coming. They see the road. They see these 2 units. So they see a slinger. They see a road under construction. They can assume that some more things are behind these guys along that road, but they don't know for sure. Both players are similar, but not for long, because this is going to be an alpha strike. Again, I really feel like you probably just want to go right ahead and take out one of these archers. However, since we're also fighting in the woods, maybe you just go for more regular kills. Take out all the warriors first. 2 hits, you can take out a warrior. Over here, you could take out another warrior pretty easily. You got Sword of the Gods. This is without Sword of the Gods. This guy without Sword of the Gods can do it. Look at that. That's 10 damage from a Zealot on a Ranger promoted. Dude, yeah, this is a nightmare. I think this is going to be a 1-session game, everybody. Not looking so hot for the Persians. 1 turn away for... Sorry, not the Persians, the Babylonians. 1 turn away from machinery. Of course, we now have a raid that might distract Auro. I'll be curious if he decides to clean this up or just go straight for the alpha, because he sees his settler. Yep. Oh, and then we're going in for first blood. First blood against the Babylonian. Well, that actually the first blood was a scout, but yeah, we're going in. Securing a kill. That's 1 down. And we can do another one. We're going for kills here. How much damage are we going to receive in return? That's 4. That's... Oh, yeah, because this is Sword of the Gods. So this unit basically invincible. Nothing in this region can actually team up and kill this unit. And then this one will be in the woods with Ranger. Auro thought he could route, but that's fine. Just move up into these woods with this guy who has Ranger. Take another kill. and start the battle. No big deal. You don't need to route. Not a big deal at all. You have got complete control in the situation. Or do whatever the hell that guy just did. Apparently he could one-shot him too. Great. Awesome. Okay, coming up with that. Warrior to secure the kill on the Peltast. God loves us. Wondering where the hell all the damage is coming from, and he's gonna get an education here. The friendly politics is definitely playing a role. Again, remember it's a 15% damage swing because these are artisan units who are upset. Oh no, they're no longer upset, so it's only a 10% swing, but still a passive buff politically. I'm not really feeling some of the tactical decisions here on Auro. Clearly he just killed 4 units and he has the supremacy here, so he's doing fine. But there, I feel like, you know, you could have, you know, this is just me nitpicking Auro. I mean, you know what you're doing. We've played plenty of games. You've beat me more than once. But, you know, for the sake of commentary, this is a ranger guy. I feel like I would have liked to see him in the woods somewhere. I think maybe more kills is probably better than killing the Acadians, but maybe I would have gone for the Acadians, but, you know. And there we are. God loved us with the morale damage. And, I mean, you have a stronger, learned opponent with with an army at your door. With an army at your door. There's really not much that the Babylonians can do about this. We have archives, apprentices, treasuries coming on. Too much greed, not enough military, not enough efficiency building up that economy. He has to pull off from the site because he can't clear it, he can't settle it. And he killed something with this. No, he just leveled it up. So, yeah, these are actually all going to die next turn. So, yeah, we'll probably see a concession next turn. Because Auro will definitely take both of these Acadians out. Yeah, he had the damage. Look at that. Even in the forest. See, this is what I think is funny about people. People are like, oh no, but the woods, the woods. Oh, I guess, okay, never mind. That's Sword of the Gods. That's not fair. I guess Sword of the Gods isn't fair, because this is a Ranger Zealot, and he's only doing 3 damage. So that's fair. But over here, to this guy in the scrub, that's 4 damage. I don't know, I still think there's kill potential here. Warrior, that's 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6. We're looking for 9. Yeah, 7, 8, 9. So that's these 3 guys can kill the Acadian. And then this guy and a couple of these guys can probably come. Do we have enough training for Force March? Let's look at our Egyptian training pool. Oh yeah. We have 1,600 training, and we're making 124 training per turn. Building walls is the mistake. If you're building walls and there's an army on your doorstep, you have, in fact, already lost. Maybe not always, but that's a bad sign. Building walls is very tricky. I think it's very often not the right play. But if you're going to build them, you build them before you actually need them. And ideally, we wait till we hit developing culture and you just rush them so you don't actually waste any build time on them. Land consolidation. That's a fun grab, but there are no camels on the map to solve our problem. That's probably another thing that informed the light chariot pick. There are no camels or elephants on the mountain pass map scripts. 0. They do not generate on this script, which is another fun puzzle about the strategy of this map script. So I think it can influence. That's actually another thing that makes the Hittites a great decision on this map. Easy. Mountain movement, the melee unit, so it will fight well in the woods, and it can't get countered by the damn camel spam. Alright, turn 53. Another possible attack from Auro. No real reason not to press his advantage. We have an Onager being under construction and Shadet. Love that. And we got... Oh no, I missed the Ishtar bomb. I love looking at all the events and the payouts from those. My bad. I think I got distracted by the fight. But we did Ishtar bomb, so all of these cities are developing, which means we will be able to rush these Onagers directly to the front lines. with civics when we want. Crazy. Super, super efficient. Love the rapid expansion. Love topping it off with an Ishtar bomb. Love the road movement. Really, really great. All of these, look at this. All of this movement. We have plenty of orders. We can just start funneling them over to Babylon. And this is a turn 53 conflict. So, and look at the economy. Auro's economy is fine. We have 135 food per turn, 90 metal per turn, 169 stone per turn, only -3 wood. A little bit of a gold deficit, but who cares? All right, we have a first kill of the Acadians, and I think that's going to lead us to our concession from God Lives Us. God Loves Us. We'll see if... Okay. All right, so we have our surrender. I'm going to see if these guys are interested in a post-game chat. But before I do so, I want to go over a little bit of the stats myself. All right, so if we look at the military units produced, honestly, not a lot by either nation. Both nations have built 7 units only. So this was primarily a timing around the unique unit culture, emergence, as well as Auro's ability to just get this pipeline all the way to the front line to get his units in the position for exactly where he needs to be. Like, both nations had a relatively even military at the time of this conflict. However, Auro just was in a much, much better position to use it, and of course was set up better for the long term. I want to look at the science as well. Yeah, so science, real strong here, about to pop off even further. A 1,000 science lead thereabouts over Babylon, and of course the orders were just eclipsing God Loves Us at this point. Really, really hard to come back from these setbacks if you're just not keeping pace with your opponent. So again, don't take the first loss too hard. There's always things to learn, and you can come back next time. So let's see if we can get these guys in for a post game. Hello, Auro. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hello.
Hello. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. And let's see if Glue joins us. Yeah. So I'll start with you anyway. Boy. No, you did well in the last tournament, and I've played a couple of games with you, practice sessions in between. But man, are you getting better and better at this game? Because we were talking about how this was like a masterclass in efficiency. For everything from the roading to all the city sites, the way you were expanding, the resource management, the barracks situation, the order, dude, very well played. Like, everything was just humming.
Thank you.
Honestly, I was just like, once he showed up, I was like, I'm dead. Oh well.
Hey, I thought you did very, very well for your first real multiplayer game, and you beat me to strong capital, which is something that's pretty important in duels because you can get those 2 unique units from the tech card, and I think honestly, like, you did quite well for being new to multiplayer.
Well, the big problem was I forgot how weak Babylon is in the opening, especially with slingers in this all this forest, I just couldn't expand into anything actually.
Yeah, there was a lot. There were a lot of trees in this map for sure.
Yeah, I think you played well. God loves us, but I think if I were going to say anything, you probably like Eridu. There was a time I think after your first worker, you built a treasury, which I mean, we talked about that on the stream. Like maybe that's fine, I mean, whatever. But then it's like it was like a treasury, then the iron miner, then the forum, and so you're right in that slingers are tricky in these heavy woods, but you can either get to iron working fast and get some warriors out, or just get enough slingers out that at least when you get to the camps and you're on these urban tiles and attacking into these urban tiles, you can do enough damage to clear them quicker. So I think one of the big issues that you face comparative to Auro was that your clearing pace really it slowed down quickly.
Yeah.
Of course, he did have warriors to start with, but then he also brought in some slingers as he was expanding across the map. So I think
Yeah.
that was just a little bit different queue management and military mindset in terms of like
Yeah,
how am I going to expand. But yeah,
Yeah.
the map can be tricky.
Yeah, I made a mistake mostly because this is my second multiplayer game. So my first one was like a friendly with a bunch of people, so it was more civilian focused, and this one is I forgot it's a dual map, so I was like, when should I build military units? And I forgot.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
How
no,
did
it can be tricky, and I agree with Oro. Overall, your capital was awesome. I think the only thing we probably missed in terms of opportunities was getting a sense of like major priorities for mid-game wonders, because you beat Oro to strong by 6 to 10 turns. And then he didn't even start building the mausoleum until the museum rather, until recently. We're only 3 or 4 turns into that. So I think you had a clear window of opportunity to secure the museum, but instead we ended up building the Apadana. So things like that. But otherwise, I really liked. I think drama wasn't a bad choice. You get that free settler. You get huge culture potential in the artisan cap. Artisan can beat almost any family, even patrons, to legendary most of the time if you really push for it. So there's certainly a strategy there, and it was. I think you did well with it. One thing I thought was interesting though was that you also had a window to contest Zoroastrianism, and I was surprised to see you go for a poet rather than a second acolyte and try to get that religion for yourself and deny it to Egypt.
Yeah, I actually forgot. It's been, like,
Fair enough.
I was like, oh, there's all these systems. I'm like, what am I forgetting?
Yeah, fair enough.
Especially with the turn timer, I was like, there were a couple turns where I was like, I'm trying to click the extend timer, and then it didn't, so it timed me out, and I was like, oh. So I need to. I guess the question is Oro definitely did like efficiency and military rushing or military expansion way better than I did. Do you always have to compete militarily, or is it possible to be like 4 or 5 cities like I have and just be like a turtle?
I think you can, but I think you need to be on your science game, and you also need to be able to defend yourself. So like when this conflict broke out, for example, you actually both had 7 military units on the map. Not maybe in total, but like in terms of military units built, plus the bonus cards in the game. So I mean, your military strength was roughly even. So there probably could have been a scenario where maybe you could have contested or defended. But the problem that you're facing is that you're still trying to secure a site. Well, if we look at Oro's map, he's fully expanded. He has a road network to all of his cities. He's set up for the issue isn't him being set up to win this fight. He's set up for a long-term war. So if you're going to turtle, that's fine. But you need a game plan of like, well, how am I going to defend myself? So something like getting onagers early is super useful. Getting forts set up is super useful. Things like that, and kind of getting a better sense of the mastery of like the tech tree of like where you're headed and what's your game plan for how am I going to score points? How am I going to get science? And like I was saying with the artisan city, maybe planning for something like getting the museum as quickly as possible, because again, that will allow you to maybe play a little bit tighter and not take too much disadvantage if you're not out expanding your opponent.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Oro, it was actually really fun. It was very, very nerve-wracking, but I enjoyed it, and I hope to do more of these, and hopefully I can actually do well in my next game. And I'm gonna definitely take some tips from what you did, because I noticed one or two things that you did, and I'm like, I'm stealing that for later.
Yeah, I
So, yeah.
think one thing I believe about these duel games is that barracks are very good, and the officers that you build in them, because it's 2 science and 2 shields. So essentially, like, kind of whatever you're doing in a duel game, science and military are gonna be nice. So to me, that's one thing that I think worked well for me in this game, is generally useful.
Yeah, I think obvious technologies that seem super important are things like stone cutting, for example. You can rarely rather play a game where you just don't get stone cutting. But I think in a dual setting, military drill should be a big priority. Maybe not necessarily beeline it, but like Aaron even joked recently, and Aaron is an exceptional player. And he joked about a loss that he had recently. It's like, all right, so maybe I shouldn't be getting military drill on turn 56, right?
Yeah.
So getting military drill relatively early, but more importantly, once you have it, actually making sure you're building barracks and getting them set up, at least in some of your cities, really translates long term to both science, military output, and then even orders once your garrisons come online. It's kind of like a jack of all trades foundation for an empire that's going to be in conflict.
Well, well, that's good to know. Thanks. I really appreciate both the advice and I'm a little overwhelmed right now, so I'll just take a moment to think. And if I have any future questions, I guess I'll drop back in. But thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Well,
for
hey, before you take off, I just wanted to say thanks for letting us cast and stream. And yeah, don't sweat your first loss because, I mean, you're going to take lessons into the next game.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. See ya.
Well played.
Oro, any final thoughts?
I don't think so. I think it was a nice start location for Egypt, and it's cool that the tournament is like twice as big as last year. So
I actually had a question with respect to Egypt. Were you aware that elephants and camels do not spawn on this map?
I was aware. So I had a note that no elephants live, and also no rivers spawn on this map.
No
I
rivers.
noticed.
Yeah, those three things are actually a feature of this map. Elephants, camels, and rivers will not spawn on mountain pass maps. And the reason why I asked is because I was saying how horse unit nations can actually excel on this map simply because you never have to be scared of camels showing up.
Yeah, and I was thinking too that onagers would probably be quite good if there's no risk of panic from the elephants.
Yes. No, 100%. Ironically, that's one of the reasons why I like the Tamil nation on this map, because they can end up being one of the only nations, apart from Riders Import, that can mass produce panic.
True.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to maybe trying to play them out on this map. But all right,
Yeah.
good
And I
game
think-
and well played, and congrats on the win, buddy.
Sounds good. Thank you. Have a good
Right.
one.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, I will close out the stream. I'm going to close out the stream here. Thank you guys for tuning in live. If you've been watching out after the fact on YouTube, appreciate you being here. We have a masterclass in early game expansion here, masterclass in versatile play. We have striking economy. We've gotten wonders. We've gotten military lined up. We got a road network clear across the mountainous terrain. Really beautiful usage of just all the systems that make an empire really shine, because I talked earlier on in this game how with two builders in the corner of this long, wide, mountainous match, that we would be having a game that would probably stretch long, but Oro had other ideas in mind, and he was able to rapidly expand into his opponent's other side of the map and seal the deal with a very quick, early tactical alpha strike against his unprepared opponent. And again, God loves us. Do not take the first loss too hard. Take the lessons into the next match, And you will be paired against another opponent who also lost his first match. So you guys can duke it out to see who survives and can etch out 3 wins and make their way into the championships. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to take off.